Well, the sun is playing peekaboo with heavy overcast clouds here. Temp is 61, track temp 82 due to the sun, but it's mostly cloudy. Going to be sun and clouds all day long. Today, 500 laps. Stages 1 and 2, 125 laps each. The final stage is half the race. Now, pit road. You have to enter under caution in turn 2 and exit in turn 1, no matter where your pit is. They pit on both sides of the racetrack. Fuel window 175 laps, but boy, they're going to need tires before that, it seems, especially on these first 2 sets. Here's some Kyle Larson radio for you.
All right, here we go in Bristol, the last great Coliseum. Awesome day for a race. Beautiful spring day in East Tennessee. Looking forward to it. Thank you. Over 500 laps ahead of us tonight at Bristol. Let's go make the best of it. Have a good night.
Yeah, and as I listen to that, I think Cliff is sitting on a pit box just thinking, you know what, boys, today I'm just going to let him cook.
All right, because they painted the walls the traditional red and white, because we're back on the concrete, and because it's Bristol, the pace car is in. Boogity.
Boogity. Boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Let's go cruise the concrete.
Gotta love you some DW. He loved this place.
And it loved him.
A lot of Fords up front so far.
You see Ryan Blaney get loose, and this is going to happen a lot in these first few laps until they get that resin run in and get the top layer knocked off of it and the rubber put into it. We see Josh Berry underneath Ryan Blaney, but things are going to happen fast here at the beginning, boys.
I see Josh Berry slipping and sliding in that resin you speak of, and Blaney holding him to it pretty tight on his outside.
That middle will stay good, as you know, for a few laps here as the track is clean, but as we get later in the race, that middle will only last for a couple laps. Right now, that middle will last a little bit longer than it will later.
Blaney trying to keep Berry down, and sometimes they're separated only by an inch in the middle of the corner. Josh Berry with the lead.
You can see him still struggling to put the power down on the exit of the corners.
Chase Briscoe for third against Logano. Denny Hamlin trying to follow suit.
Well, you see him starting to line up on the bottom of the racetrack, and you see Joey Logano and William Byron trying to stay as close to those inside cars as possible because they know they need to get down, and that train's getting longer.
That beep beep you hear, that's Joey Logano backing up.
Well, when you look in your mirror and when you look out your window and you've got 10 car lengths in front of you, and you look in your mirror and you've got a whole field of cars lined up behind you, you know there's going to be some pressure from behind to get bumped out of the way.
Very reminiscent of Bristol of old, right? That's what it looks like to me. This, obviously, the resin on the bottom is a preferred line right now. Joey was struggling to get down, still can't get down. Freight trained on the bottom so far, but we know that outside will eventually come in.
It's going to eventually come in, but until the bottom, like you say, with that resin wears in and starts to wear off, that top lane is just not going to be fast enough to make the distance up. But the other thing that we heard a lot about from practice is tire wear, and this bottom of the racetrack is going to wear these tires out.
Now remember, at the back, Chris Buescher has already gained 6 spots. Ross Chastain is up 2 as Josh Berry at his home race here out in front.
I am so impressed with Josh Berry. Huge turnaround for him, Rodney Childers, everybody on this 4 car. Exactly what the doctor ordered out here leading at Bristol.
And Josh Berry is just a phenomenal short track racer. And like you say, Clint, this is what they needed. They qualified well, showing the capability of what they can do as a team, and being able to lead these laps is confidence not only for the driver, but for the whole team and organization.
Well, still, he and Ryan Blaney have put 2 seconds on the field in just 10 laps.
Yeah, it looks like third place car of Denny Hamlin is definitely holding up some of these guys, back in the field. So clean air is king right now, and at some point you're going to catch some cars and have to start working through lap traffic.
All right, we talk about who's been able to move. Man, I've seen some cars already. Brad Keselowski, one in particular, on this outside, burning that outside in. Those guys are getting bottled up on the bottom. He rolls them around one by one on the outside, up 5 spots so far.
And you saw Chris Buescher in a hurry to get to the front. He moved Noah Gragson up and out of the low groove to gain the spot. Now he's a bit bottled up in traffic. There's the BuildSubmarines.com cam on board Buescher, who's had to come from the next to last row.
Well, he knows he's got to go.
There it is, Denny Hamlin. He's following suit. These spotters are telling those guys, and boys are starting to make hay on that outside. Rolled right around Briscoe on the outside.
Yeah, that's making a liar out of me here, Clint. That second groove, for whatever reason, is coming in. This is the first time that we've raced on the resin on the bottom of the racetrack, but it seems like that second groove is definitely faster right now with certain cars.
Now, this resin is used at a lot of racetracks to help equalize the competition between grooves, but it's the first time they've used it at Bristol. Here goes Bubba underneath Briscoe.
This is great racing. Side by side, there's several of them all the way through the field. I like that outside line's rolling right there on their door, just barely on their outside. They're able to pick it off, and I think it's because they're taking their exit away. If they can just get on their outside quarter panel, by the time they get to the exit, they take that exit away, and the pass is made.
Back at 13th place. Eric Jones, Christopher Bell, last week's winner. Byron, Gibbs, Busch, all right there.
We see William Byron up a little bit in the center of the racetrack, in the center of the corner, diamond in the corner. And I think as we run here, for sure, the racetrack's going to keep moving up. But here we got a pass for second place with Denny Hamlin going underneath Ryan Blaney.
Last year's winner, Denny Hamlin, man. You knew you was going to have to beat this guy. His car is extremely fast again. I think all the Gibbs cars are strong, especially that one right there.
And we were just talking, I just mentioned 8 laps ago that Denny Hamlin was 10 car lengths behind, and all of a sudden, here he comes.
Yeah, looking here outside already on the leader. Didn't take any time at all. As soon as he got around Blaney, pounced on
Bump and run, turn 3, car on the wall.
William Byron.
Keep it up there if you can.
Well, he had a lot of help. No caution.
And while all that was happening, Denny Hamlin's taking the lead.
He's struggling up there.
Yep.
He's up in the marbles, having trouble getting it down.
Byron has damage. Here's a look at it, lower right.
3 wide. I think Bell got into Logano just ever so slightly. Then I think he got in the marbles up off of 4, and he got down to the next corner and didn't have any grip in his tires. See, the part of the wall is what that is.
That toe link's broke on the right rear.
And Byron has come to pit road as we stay green. And now the yellow flag waves. Apparently for debris. Got some William Byron audio. This won't be pleasant.
I think you're right, Kevin.
Toe link broke. Dono got his mate.
There it is. You heard it. Toe links broke. They're going to replace this thing. Larry just teed us up. Wasn't what? Previewing the race right here. First caution.
Well, with the way that you get loose here on the exit of the corner and the way that it snaps, it just snaps up and it doesn't hit the wall square. It kind of hits the corner right there and breaks that toe link. But when you go back and look at that video, that wasn't Joey Logano's fault. That was Christopher Bell getting into Logano, which shot him into the 24.
Anytime you're 3 wide at Bristol, though, that's bound to happen.
There was a lot happening.
Now there is what they're replacing. Something has to be the weakest link in the suspension, as Larry explained, and it's good that it's this toe link because that's the easiest part to replace.
Yeah, and right now they're on the clock to get this toe link changed because they're on the clock to that NASCAR sets with the DVP damaged vehicle policy to be able to change the toe link in time before they run out of time and are done in the race for the day if they exceed that time limit.
I think he broke the grinding wheel there. Man, quick work there. They got him another grinding right off the bat. They're going to get this thing, hopefully, maybe just lose a couple laps.
Yeah, and I think the caution was for the decal banner that Byron took off with his rear bumper off the wall.
Track is changing faster than I anticipated, Kevin.
Well, it definitely was very strange there with that second groove being better than the bottom, and I think a lot of that is just the resin being slick until it gets run in and the rubber put on it. But it's definitely going to be confusing for us to watch and for all the drivers on the racetrack.
A couple things I'm seeing. Obviously, that Denny Hamlin are going to pit here, but man, how about Chase Elliott too? Great run for him so far.
And this pit is purely because of the fact that they had high tire wear yesterday, and they know that those tires are going to be at a premium.
You must enter the pits under caution at turn 2 and come all the way around. Regan.
Well, Mike Kevin's exactly right. This is more about checking tire wear, figuring out what they have. The 4-car of Josh Berry, little tight, just like practice. Big fall off so far, as you see 2 tires for him. Didn't really want a lot of change to the balance. And the 5 of Kyle Larson just managing his race car right now. A lot of marbles on the top of the track. Jamie?
And around on the front side, Denny Hamlin said balance is good. No big complaints for him, as you can imagine. He took the lead there, 4 tires. The 9 of Chase Elliott said our balance is pretty good here. Another top 5 start for him, and he's moving forward, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. 1 driver.
Oh,
ooh.
Contact, Bubba Wallace, and
great pit stop for Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
1 driver stayed out, and that was Tyler Reddick, who was in 20th position.
Well, if tires are of that much of a premium, they only have 9 sets of stickers and 1 from qualifying, so it'll be tight.
The Food City 500 on Fox is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Bundle home and auto and save. First caution of the day for debris from William Byron getting up and into the wall. Larry McReynolds, how about a look at our race strategy sponsored by Verizon?
Yeah, Mike, with stage 1 and stage 2 being 125 laps, you do not have to stop in those stages for fuel. You will have to stop between the stages. An option, as we just saw with a number of drivers with only running a few laps, right side tires for track position. And if you're not in a position to score stage points and the caution comes out late in stage 1 or stage 2, pit, flip the stage, and then stay out at the stage end and get that track position.
Thanks, Larry. Eric Jones dropping to the back. His pit crew had equipment interference on his stop. Bubba Wallace got 2 tires. I assume Chris Buescher did for all the spots he gained on pit road. Buescher, who started out back, will restart 18th here.
Well, we're getting ready to find out what strategy is best. Staying out, 2 tires, 4 tires, and what this racetrack has in store for us today.
And these boys.
Oh! Tyler Reddick, who did not stop, goes around, and we have
stacking up behind him.
2.
Big time stack up here, guys.
Yep, Corey LaJoie is in it. AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Hemrick, Carson Hocevar, and more. Reddick trying to get refired.
Yeah, we'll have to see the replay, but it looked like the 4-car gave the 45 car a pretty big shot because he just wasn't going in the middle of the corner, and I think a lot of that has to do with the tires.
Yeah, clearly his tires didn't take off near as good. You can see him slipping around. Bubba gets on his outside before, hit him once, hit him twice. That was a combination of didn't have the real estate on the exit, had him the 4-car on his left rear. Then Zane Smith hits him on the inside.
Tyler Reddick gets turned around and they pile up in the back. In just 2 weeks, pro football returns on Fox as the UFL kicks off Saturday, March 30th. The USFL champion Stallions take on the XFL champs, the Renegades. Kickoff weekend continues Sunday, March 31st on ESPN. Tyler Reddick completes repairs. He's back on track, 2 laps down and back in the pits once again. Here's a list of who's involved. A.J. Allmendinger has gone a lap down and William Byron gets the free pass. Jamie?
Well, Mike, after that first round of stops, listening to the radios, drivers are talking about marbles. Chase Elliott said, I've never seen anything like it. These are marbles. Basically, think of the racetrack as a cheese grater. It's grating the rubber right off the tires. And the problem is when the tires pick it back up, it feels like they're driving on ice. So this is certainly something we're watching and listening to. Drivers are going to have to contend with it all race long.
Chase Elliott and crew talked about just that.
Marbles are making wild. I've never seen anything like that here in my time. Yeah, copy that.
Well, you saw the graining on that tire too,
yeah.
and that's really what makes the car ill handling. A lot of that is just contributing to the difference between sticker tires and the older tires. But the hard thing right here is going to be refiring with all that buildup on the tires.
Today's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, powering the race from green to checkered flag and every mile in between. Goodyear, more driven. Now, as we line up for the restart, only 2 drivers in the top 8 have 4 fresh tires, and they are Hamlin and Blaney in row 3.
Well, to all their credits, this is the first time we've ever put resin down on this racetrack. Last time it was a different traction compound. The resin is definitely different.
Pace cars in. Bubba Wallace and Josh Berry to lead them back to green.
Josh Berry's is doing a great job on that inside. That is no easy task there. Always the benefit goes to that outside at Bristol. He's holding his own pretty good on the bottom and restarts.
McDowell settles in third. Then there's a gap back to this group, fighting for fourth.
Woo, very tight. Off of 4, Josh Berry looking back underneath Bubba Wallace. Got him. Man, his 4 car come to play today,
I
boys.
really like the speed of the 4 car through the center third of the corner. See him get up out of the groove right there. You just, if you're going to run that bottom, you want to keep that whole car in that resin down on the bottom of the racetrack. But he's definitely got the lead. He's got the clean air. The thing that we saw in the run before this, the 4 car took off really good. The 12 car took off really good, and then after about 10 laps, here comes that 11.
11, Denny Hamlin eats him up. Watch the exit off of 2 over here. I saw him when he gets back to the gas. Boy, he really accelerates hard. See how much he closed that gap? Thing is stuck up off the corners. Just exactly what you want. You want to put that throttle down and leave it down.
Yeah, we see that one groove up working really well.
Look at
for some of the good handling cars, and like you said, Clint, that car is amazing for the exit of the corner.
Denny Hamlin powers into third, and with his success at Bristol, Hamlin is today's guaranteed fifth. Sponsored by eBay Motors. 3 Bristol wins, 4th or better in the last 4 short track races with a victory. 17 top 10s and 33 starts here.
As Blaney in tow, those are the first 2 cars and 4 tires.
Josh Berry out front, trying to become his high school graduating class's 2nd most famous graduate.
Who's the first, Mike?
Taylor Swift.
Oh, well, he's
in trouble.
He's definitely got no chance for first.
No, everybody's racing for 2nd. But he is racing in the lead over Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin. Micah McDowell trying to hold 7th against Keselowski and Bristol, and Berry has a fight on his hands.
It seems like that bottom really fires off good, and then all of a sudden that outside line just above it cleans up, and man, really takes off. Here's Denny to the outside of him. A little bit free into the corner, but all you have to do is get to there in position, take that exit away from him, and you're going to complete that pass pretty easy.
All right, now the 11 and 12 are the only cars in this top 8 with 4 fresh tires. Knowing what we know now, are 9 sets of new tires going to be enough today?
I don't know. This is going to be a telltale run if we can get some green flag runs here to see what the tires look like. But we heard a lot of the tires yesterday were worn all the way down to the cord. So the lap times that we're seeing right now are way slower than they ran yesterday. The sun is out today, and the resin is fresh on the bottom of the racetrack. I still think this racetrack is going to evolve as we go through the day, but very confusing for everybody right now, except for that 11 car.
11, hey,
12's
Blaney's right on him too. That's those 4 tires pouncing on Bubba Wallace. It's probably a matter of time, but on a short run, I'm sold on these 2 tires. That's going to be something all these crew chiefs are going to have in the bag, right in their tool chest when it comes down to the end of this thing. If a caution comes out untimely,
well, you say
a lot of them to try that.
You say that, and that 4 car is going backwards on those 2 tires. So I think a lot of it just depends on how your car is handling. It seems like Bubba's car is obviously handling a little bit better than Josh Berry's after it runs 10, 15, 20 laps.
Yeah,
here comes Hamlin for the lead with 4 fresh tires, and Blaney trying to follow through. Larry Mack.
Yeah, what I learned this week talking to a number of crew chiefs, if you're going to go with just right side tires, you have to adjust the race car for it. You can't just throw the 2 rights on there. You have to make an adjustment that goes along with it.
Well, I would think that would be an air pressure adjustment. Oh, hold on here. Busch is trying to get to the inside of Harrison Burton. Stacked them all up behind them.
Now, he's not made a lot of progress since the restart. 17th was 18th. Kyle Larson also boxed in trying to make some moves behind Ty Gibbs.
I think as we talked about today, this morning, Clint, this field was mixed up to start the race, and we knew that there was going to be a lot of comers and goers, and then you add that caution in and the high tire wear to start the race. It's definitely mixed things up. And the first run, Ryan Blaney wasn't as good as the 11 car, but as he's running this time, he's staying right with him and maybe a little bit better right now.
Yeah, very impressed with Ryan Blaney. I mean, he's got squirrely right there. When he turned back across that resin, called on the thing on the throttle, and it got loose out from underneath of him. But he is very fast through the center of the corner on that bottom. And Chase Elliott looking at his outside.
Yeah, Elliott now third, looking for second. And Brad Keselowski up into the top 5, and then orange number 6. Here comes Elliott on the high side. Kyle Busch in the picture underneath Bubba Wallace.
And the more those marbles stay built up on the outside of the racetrack, the harder it's going to be to push this lane up to the top.
Elliott clears Blaney and goes right after the 11 of Hamlin for the lead.
Guys, I am so intrigued by what is happening right now, because you really cannot tell who's doing what. Like we thought Denny Hamlin was the guy that was going to take off and run, and now he's getting passed on the outside by Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott to the point. How about that? Where's our Elliott fans out there? Leading at Bristol.
.61 of 500 laps complete. Chase Elliott in the lead at Bristol. 1 caution, 2 cautions so far. The Food City 500 on Fox is sponsored by Ford. Built Ford proud. And by Credit One Bank. Caution is out for Zane Smith, who blew a tire on the front straightaway and the resulting debris. Now, Chase Elliott had gotten out front and led Hendrick Motorsports' 80,000th lap in their NASCAR history. Then Kyle Busch, who restarted 16th, forged his way to the lead. And it's like whenever somebody can lead for about 5 laps, what do they make their tires angry? Because then they just get overhauled, and the whole pack has stayed pretty much together with all these lead changes so far.
I don't even know what to say, because I don't know how to explain it, but we've seen side-by-side cars just go and all of a sudden just shut off and start going backwards. It has to have something to do with the graining of the front tires and the tire wear of really all 4 tires. So we'll have to see what happens when they take them off. But we're going to have 3 sets on 72 laps into this race.
That's what's dangerous. Only 9 sets out here. These guys on the pit box is hilarious, scratching his hair. He might be out of here by the time this thing's over. But you said it, Mike. It really has congested the field in this tight racetrack, this half-mile track. Usually 30 laps in, you're back the leaders on the same straightaway as the tail end of the field at Bristol Motor Speedway. Not even a chance. They're all on top of one another. You could have thrown a blanket over the top 15.
That is Eric Jones, and
I think that's part of the 71 car on his hood.
Got the Ford Performance Cam here on Joey Logano's car, and his car has been absolutely horrendous.
All right, pit road will be open this time.
Well, after what I saw with those 2 tires and stuff like that, Josh Berry lost a lot of ground. I'm putting 4 tires on this thing, Kevin. Give me 4.
I'm with you, and that's, as a driver, that's what I always wanted, was 4 tires.
Regan?
Well, Kyle Busch up 15 spots since the restart, and what the field doesn't want to hear, he reports to his team, the balance is really good. He's happy with his car at this moment. In the 5 car, Kyle Larson, really good right now. The biggest concern is he's got to do a better job navigating better through the traffic that we see on the racetrack right now. Jamie?
73 laps in, and these teams are coming in for their 2nd set of sticker tires. The 11 of Denny Hamlin super tight into the corner, but as he moved up, it got better. The 12 of Ryan Blaney ran pretty hard there. He said needed to turn just a little bit better, but no big complaints from either 2 of these drivers.
All cars, remember, under caution have to enter the pits at turn 2 and come all the way around both pit roads, exiting at turn 1. Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and there's the race off pit road.
Still some pit crew challenges for that 8 car at Kyle Busch.
Well, they made another change this week. They had the original jack band back. They moved the front tire changer to the rear, got a different front tire changer, and just lost 3 spots. 1961 is when they started racing in Thunder Valley. These scenes from 1965.
Wow.
Were you there, Mike?
No, I wasn't. I was in high school in Connecticut, but I guess I just wish I'd been there at the time.
I wish I'd have been there.
Me too.
Regan.
Well, Mike, we talk about cords and what these tires are doing. Right here's the right front off of Joey Logano's car. This is what we mean when we talk about cords. The rubber completely gone on this tire. He was tight before this started. It got tighter after.
Woo.
Aye, aye, aye.
Larry, it's a bit excessive.
Yes, it is, Clint, and I'd like to sit here and tell you it's going to get better, but I am very, very concerned. The biggest thing I'm concerned about is what we're seeing and the number of tires we got sitting in our pits.
Well, in last fall's race here, there were only 10 lead changes in the whole race. We've had more lead changes in the first 70 here than in any race on concrete in Bristol history.
Wow.
We're back under green. Denny Hamlin out in front of Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott on the outside. Kyle Busch drops low in fourth.
All these teams have reported to their drivers what the situation is with their tires. So in Joey Logano's situation, you know, that car looks like it has too much camber and it's obviously tight and hard on the right front tire. So he's got to make some adjustments as a driver. There's obviously not a lot you can do here because it's Bristol and you just have to go as hard as you can through the center of the corner. So it's a tough situation to manage.
All right, here's some Chase Elliott radio. Elliott riding in third.
What are your volts now? 12.8 now. Been flashing at me for 10, 15 laps. The only thing I have blowing is just my helmet fan. That's it.
12.8. Well,
that's not going to last long.
No, not with 400 laps to go.
I mean, it might last 150, 200 laps, but it's not going to make the whole race if it's not charging the battery at all.
Blaney the pass on Hamlin. Man, when he made a pass, did he try to get back in line? And that thing took a set. Thought it was going to come around on him.
Well, and I just wonder, Clint, if Denny's just sitting there trying to be as easy as possible, find a space to be able to save those tires and knows the situation.
Chris Buescher has made it up into the top 10. Now here's a guy who started 34th, gained a whole bunch of spots by taking 2 tires on the early caution flag, but he's worked hard for a top 10 spot. Got it. Ty Gibbs just went by him to take that back, but he's with the lead pack and battling. Here's the RFK crew.
Well, we knew Chris Buescher would be in the mix here. He was great in the fall, him and Brad Keselowski both.
Third place.
Well, when you have, and you called it a situation, when you have situations like this, I look for experience. And look at the experience up front. Blaney, last year's champion. Denny, many years of experience. This 8 car, Kyle Busch, many-time winner here at Bristol. That 9 car, champion. Brad Keselowski behind him, champion.
Kyle Busch was runner-up in last night's truck race. The surprise was he didn't win it. Christian Eckes took it to him, passed him under green, and held him off for the victory.
Here we see Denny Hamlin go back around the outside of Ryan Blaney.
$15 lead changes already. The race record is 40. Set in the spring of '91.
Look at the marbles up on top of that racetrack. That's all that tire. Jamie said it. It's like a cheese grater out here on these things.
Well, Buescher's fallen back a bit to battle with Nemechek and Bowman, 11th, 12th, 13th here.
Clint, what do you think the best strategy is to save tires? I mean, is it in the resin? Is it above the resin? Because I don't really know.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. Save tires or whatever, tire wear always puts on better racing. We have massive tire wear, and look at the difference of a product we've seen here today at Bristol already 90 laps into this thing. Tire wear is king.
.33 to go in stage 1. We're going to take you Fox side by side at Bristol. Hamlin the leader, Busch second, Blaney third. This is fourth on back, Elliott, Bell, and Keselowski. 103 laps complete.
Slider Sunday on Keselowski's quarter panel. They're sliding around this baby at Bristol.
And Ty Gibbs keeps marching toward the front.
Boom!
Or that.
Yeah.
That's the Bristol stomp right there.
Yeah, he had a lot of momentum, and he thought Christopher Bell was going to leave him a lane, and he didn't.
Are you sure that's what you saw? I think Bell moved up and he voiced his displeasure on the bumper of his race car.
We used to call it the chrome horn, but those bumpers aren't chrome anymore. All right, so Josh Berry, you know who he's battling to be the second most famous person in his graduating class?
Taylor Swift.
No, she's first. IndyCar star Joseph Newgarden. They all went to high school together.
They all went to high school together?
Yeah.
And they let Kelsey take off with it?
Well,
I don't know.
Yes, you do. He's dating Taylor Swift.
Oh, trust me, I know. My little girl Piper at home informs me daily that that's the only football player she knows.
Ty Gibbs trying to take fifth from Chase Elliott. Couldn't get the job done in that corner, but didn't work on the bottom. Let's try the top.
Well, he's got that second lane rolling in pretty good.
Especially off turn 2. And Josh Berry has been up and against the wall.
Oh, no. We have a tire down. Yeah.
Kyle Busch hunting the lead.
We see both of these guys in that second lane. Denny Hamlin has been in that second lane the whole time. Kyle Busch will dip down into the bottom when he needs to, but I'm still curious as to which lane is going to be the best for tire savings. As we heard Regan tell us, all the tires were wore out down to the cords, and they're graining really bad on their way to the cords.
And as soon as they're wearing out to these cords, you can just see it. I mean, it's instantaneous. They start slipping, sliding around, and headed to the back.
Yeah, the lap times just immediately start slowing down into the 17-second bracket.
Well, Xfinity fastest lap last time by. Let's have a look at it. Kyle Busch the quickest. Chris Buescher trying to get to the front. Denny Hamlin trying to hold the lead. John Hunter Nemechek back in 12th. And Alex Bowman currently 10th. You come to Bristol to watch a race, whether you're a broadcaster, a fan, a cameraman, a director. You leave here, it's like your head's been on a swivel for 3.5 hours.
This is the most interesting start to Bristol Motor Speedway I've ever seen. Whether I was racing in it or calling these races, this is by far the best start to a race I've ever seen. It's Bubba Wallace way off the pace in the exit of 4.
Got up in the marbles.
I think that's half of it. If you get moved up into those marbles, it's going to take you 2 or 3 laps to get them clean back up. I'm talking massive marbles.
How about Chase Briscoe, who has slipped back now to 15th place? We listened in.
I told him to stay out of the resin, but I don't know what the hell's right. The 41 tires look the worst, and he ran up top the most. So a lot of different information we're getting.
Talking about his teammate Ryan Preece.
Well, and that's where we are up in the booth. We don't know if it's better in the booth. There's 8 cars off the pace.
From second, big time problem.
Regan.
Like 2 laps ago, he came on the radio, said the right rear is gone completely. His spotter, Derek Nealon, also just trying to give him updates on where to run. Nobody knows where to run right now.
Nowhere to hide.
Well, it's wearing those tires out. All right, crew chief, I need help. Where can I run on this racetrack that saves these tires the most? Well, I don't know. This resin is obviously throwing them for a loop.
We saw Denny Hamlin just run in one line, and we saw Kyle go up the hill, pull his car down. I just think you need to have as little as possible lane changing and pulling the car around and backing off to try to save the tires, but he's in big trouble.
Trying to ride it out to the next caution and try to not be the next caution.
Yeah, you just have to nurse this thing around there. 7 more laps, Kyle. You could see how slow and off the pace he is.
Blaney going for the lead on Hamlin. As we get toward the end of stage 1, he's got it. But look at Ty Gibbs has climbed all the way to 2nd place.
Man, it doesn't stop there. They are really stacking up behind them. You're talking
Gibbs
6
to the
or 7
lead.
of all of them right here in a row. You could throw a blanket over them.
Yeah, and this is all whose car's not wearing the tires the most, and who can keep the tires on the cars. We see Austin Cindric probably have the same problem that we're talking about with Kyle Busch. He's got something that's just completely wore out and just nursing it to the end of this stage.
Ty Gibbs, the driver with the best average finish this season, last year's Rookie of the Year, and Kyle Larson have powered past Ryan Blaney to take over spots 1 and 2 with 4 to go in stage 1.
Can he keep these tires underneath of him? Did he save enough? Man, there is a lot of cars. Christopher Bell off of 4. He is in big trouble. It seems like the Gibbs cars are really having trouble right here in the trailing laps of this.
When you drive this car, it will just, when the right rear tire shuts off, and it is instantaneous, and all of a sudden you just can't drive it anymore, and you just have to almost stop to make the car go around the racetrack.
Buescher takes 3rd from Keselowski.
Denny Hamlin in a wall off of 3. Turn 3.
And a spin in turn 2, and it's Kyle Busch.
And it's down. The right rears finally blew out on him. I don't think he's the only one. Denny Hamlin was in trouble getting into 3. We're going to go
Kyle
backwards.
Busch becomes the next caution at lap 123.
Check this out, Kevin.
Slowly pull down. They'll start splitting to the top here.
He's going backwards, losing as little space as possible.
He is 1 lap down, trying to keep from going another.
Yeah.
Here comes the 11 in turn 3. You can see his right rear down. He was in trouble. William Byron gets into him, tags the wall just a little bit. Unbelievable tire wear we're seeing.
Now that was not the caution. Hamlin getting into the wall in 3.
No, it was the other flat tire. Kyle Busch in 2.
Kyle Busch going around in turn 2 is the reason for the look. There's no tire left on that right rear.
It's just wearing through all the tread down through the cords, and finally it just blows air out the cords.
Ty Gibbs is going to get his first career stage win in the NASCAR Cup Series. Made a methodical march through the field, took care of his tires, and he is the leader at Bristol at the end of stage 1. Ty Gibbs wins stage 1, an eventful 125 laps that saw 4 caution flags and 16 lead changes. Here's Jamie Little.
Well, Ryan Blaney's team is off to a fast start. After 4 races this season, they have the best 4-tire stop average. So let's go ahead and meet the defending series champions.
Ryan Flores, Manasquan, New Jersey, front tire changer, defending Cup Series champion, and more handsome host of the Stack and Pennies podcast.
Zach Price, rear tire changer, Taylorsville, North Carolina, dad to Maxton in Denver, 2-time NASCAR Cup champion.
Trevor Apsey, Empire, Michigan, 3rd-year tire carrier, former linebacker at Central Michigan University.
My name is Jordan Osinski. I'm from Snow Camp, North Carolina. I'm a jackman, and last season was my first full season in the Cup Series, and we happen to be champions by the end of the year.
Chris Conklin, fueler, Snow Camp, North Carolina, 4-time Xfinity champion, defending 2023 Cup champion. Started in the sport as a jackman, been a fueler since 2019.
Studs.
Yep, there they are, the series champs for Team Penske and Ryan Blaney. Now, right at the end of the stage, Ryan Blaney got up and into the wall. Here were his comments. Excuse me, Denny Hamlin up and into the wall.
Yeah, tried to do all I could there without wrecking. Wrecked anyway. Yeah, I come forward to 8. I mean, obviously had the same issue, so doesn't pay to lead and or running the gray, I guess. Who knows?
I just wonder if this is going to turn into, in the Cars Tour, we see a lot of tire conservation races where the guys will intentionally save. I just wonder if you slowed the pace down a bunch to try to save the tire, if that would even work.
Well, that's where we started. When I started in the sport, that's what you definitely did that. Tony Stewart was really good at it.
Regan?
Ty Gibbs doing a great job keeping his tires where they needed to be. His crew chief, Chris Gale, very pointed in his comments, said, tell me exactly which end slips worse, because that's which end we need to be concerned with. A little bit loose end for his car. That's what they worked on. Kyle Larson, the right front came apart at the end of that run for him. Lots of question marks on the radio. Jamie.
Brad Keselowski with a really strong Ford. He said, anything you could do to help that right front last longer, that's all I need. You see him making a 4-tire stop there. The 42, John Hunter Nemechek, started back in 26. Great run for him. A wedge adjustment and 4 tires.
It'll be close this race off pit road. Larson, Gibbs, Keselowski, Blaney, Nemechek, and Buscher. Tire wear is the topic on the high banks of Bristol. Wow. Your home for Saturday baseball is MLB on Fox. The biggest stars and teams square off in the biggest games on the best day of the week. Fox Saturday Baseball returns March 30th. We're at the end of stage number 1, and tire wear is the topic. For everybody in the field that's Ryan Blaney's right front. Everybody in the field having one issue or other, and perhaps some teams anticipated this. We were allowed to listen in on the pre-race crew meeting for Noah Gregson's team.
All right, guys, 125 first stage. We can go like 190 on gas. Tire wear is an issue. There is more fall off than there has been with resin versus PJ1, so we go 50 laps on your right front tire. It happens fast here. Things go by really quick, even adjustment-wise.
Phoenix and Vegas, it's just pit stops, retaining, and then you just inch your way forward. You get to do a good job. So,
all right, guys, let's have a good day.
Yeah.
Gregson currently 1 lap back. Had a safety violation on their last pit stop, and another one on this pit stop. Too many men over the wall for Zane Smith. Let's check with Regan.
Well, Mike, you showed some tires earlier that looked really bad up and down pit road. I checked every pit box on this end of pit road. These were the best looking tires. These are the tires off of Kyle Larson's car. Cliff Daniels radioed his driver and told him they actually look better than he anticipated at the end of that run. Kyle Larson right now asking him what lap times he needs to run early on so he can keep saving those tires.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear out of somebody's mouth. Kyle Larson, all right, I'm going to back this thing up. I'm going to put it in my hands. I'm going to save you some rubber on these tires for the end. And you better be managing these tires, because this run, folks, is 12 laps longer than what we just saw.
Well, you're going to have to back the pace down at the beginning of the run to keep some rubber on those tires, but you just don't want to be. You don't want to be the guy that causes the caution, like the 8 was right there. The 11 had the same problem, but he wasn't the cause of the caution and was able to keep himself on the lead lap. So you just don't want to be the first one that has the most issue and blows the tire out.
So we will restart for stage 2 with 27 lead lap cars plus Bubba Wallace, the free pass car. There's a look at Bristol from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, powering every lap, every mile, and every victory on the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. Jamie?
Well, Mike, I just walked over to check in with Goodyear, and they are mounting tires right now. I just talked to Greg Stucker with Goodyear. He said we have enough for each team to have a set. That's 144 tires. We're just waiting for NASCAR to give Goodyear the green light that these teams can come over and get a set, but they want to be prepared, so they're working on it now. They've been doing it for about 10 minutes. We'll get you a shot here momentarily, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie.
Look at that tire.
Boys, that's a busy place, you know. Those tire busters are among the hardest working people at the racetrack on any given weekend. Same for our Fox cameraman. That's Brad Hutton with the quick hustle over there to get a shot of Goodyear. Jake Blau as well. And Dave Stoley as well, getting these shots.
50 laps his way, 50 laps my way.
Want to say hello to one of our former Fox crew members on both the NFL and NASCAR. Mike Steveback operated the scoring pylon graphic and the ticker for the first 20 years of our NASCAR coverage on Fox. Mike up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where he is the unofficial mayor, at least everybody with Fox, has been battling cancer, and want to wish Mike Steveback well in his journey and in his recovery. Now the lights out on the safety car with Kyle Larson and Brad Keselowski on the front row. Ty Gibbs, Ryan Blaney, John Hunter Nemechek, Chris Buescher, Josh Berry, Christopher Bell, Martin Truex, Ryan Preece. The top 10. What will stage 2 give us? The sun back out, flirting with these big heavy clouds. In and out, sunshine on the track, resin in the track, marbles all over the track. Camaro pace car is in, and here we go.
Ty Gibbs looking to the outside of Kyle Larson for the lead off of 2.
Well, I think Kyle Larson's just in that tire conservation mode. I think he's going to listen to Cliff Daniels and just back his pace off and try to save his tires. And Ty Gibbs just took off there and passed him.
This restart strings out a lot more than any prior restart. It's like not a lot of people rushing to the front.
I think you're exactly right. And you listen to the radio. I looked over. Cliff Daniels told Kyle Larson about a 1670. I think it'll be plenty. That'll be some reserve for the end of this race. Let them go. If they want to take off, I remember Martinsville. My first race in Martinsville, Tony Stewart passing blew his doors off. Kevin put a straightaway on him. Thought, ha, he ain't so bad after all. I was a lap down by the end of that run.
Well, that's what's going to happen right here. If you don't save your tires and pace yourself, and you can see at the front of the pack, this is just like a late model stock race at a worn out racetrack. These guys are checking up the pace. They're side by side. Josh Berry one of the very best at late model stock racing in this country. Going to try to position himself, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just tries to back up and run the pace of the leader now that he's got his track position.
Shot that gap. I think that's the key. You know, if I can get to the lead like Ty Gibbs, now I want to back it up.
Yeah, and that lap right there, you can already see Josh Berry ran a 16.5 on the last lap, backed up to 16.70. Now he's just content to ride right there.
Martin Truex is not content. He wants the lead from his Joe Gibbs Toyota teammate and takes it.
And he's not even going to pressure him. Ty Gibbs is not going to pressure him at all because he wants to run that pace. He's got the track position that he's happy with. And these guys are going to start pacing themselves to try to make these tires last longer.
Well, that's where you got to discipline yourself behind this wheel. It's going to be easy to get to that lead. All right, if I can get to the lead, then I'm going to back up. Well, you start backing up, now I'm going to get greedy. Some other guy is. Don't get enticed into that. Stay on the plan. Stay managing these tires.
Truex becomes the 10th different leader today. 20 lead changes so far as Christopher Bell battles Josh Berry for 4th.
Ooh.
Inches apart.
Careful.
Less than an inch.
Well, we saw them run, and you're going to see Ty Gibbs go on the outside right here for the lead, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go back up front, take the lead, and I'm going to set the pace again. And every time somebody gets the lead, they check that pace up in order to try to get their cars to where they are in the right track position, and then try to set the pace.
Race pace has fallen off about 0.7 of a second from where we were at this stage on the last green flag run, and the 4 Gibbs cars are in 4 of the top 5 spots.
Yeah, that's management. They can take off, and you can see it at will. If you want to go lead this race, have at it. But you're going to wish you didn't here in about 30 laps. A second difference from this takeoff of this run versus the last.
All intentional. Nothing to do with the racetrack, the cars, the tires, all by choice from the teams and the drivers. And now there's a huge game of strategy and a game of chicken that's going to happen with all this jockeying back and forth to see who wants to set the pace and who wants to get out there and make up track position as they get behind. And that's what Joey Logano's doing. We noted earlier that he was struggling with his car, and his right front tire was one of the first ones we showed with cords on it. And he's like, hey, this is a good opportunity and maybe playing into something that I can do better than I could do when everybody was trying to go.
There are several science projects going on here. I've noticed several cars that since the restart have not strayed off the bottom of the track at all, and others like Kyle Busch who have not been to the bottom, running every single lap up top, trying to figure out where is the tire wear going to be the best.
Well, the biggest thing that I've noticed is because of the pace and lack thereof, because they're managing this thing kind of like a horse race, holding that horse back till you come off of 4. You don't have to worry about being at the tail end of this thing and worry about going a lap down. These guys are all right there on top of one another.
Yeah, well, this is no horse race, Clint. This is like every late model stock race in the Southeast.
Well, Kyle Larson got it done. 80,000 career laps led in the Cup Series for Hendrick Motorsports. 29 drivers have led at least a lap. 35 different racetracks. And every season that they've been in the Cup Series, they've led 240 laps or more.
Comes Ty Gibbs back to the front. Be careful of that rookie driver. He ain't a rookie anymore, but he's still pretty fresh. Don't be enticed by these guys to go out there and lead every lap. Get yourself in trouble by wearing these tires out. Denny Hamlin's tired of following. I want back up there.
And we've been on this constant mission to try to get to a point where the tires completely wear out in Cup Series racing. Today it's a bit extreme, and now you're seeing other cars, all these cars set a pace to try to keep the tires on the car. And I'd much rather see it in the drivers and team's hand to do that.
I would absolutely rather watch a race like this than a qualifying lap after lap after lap. Tire wear is always better racing.
24th lead change of the day as Denny Hamlin puts his Toyota back out front in front of Larson, Gibbs, Bell, and Truex. The Food City 500 on Fox is sponsored by Wendy's Classic Hamburgers and by Ace 100 Years of Helpful. I don't know, Kevin. You know, Darrell Waltrip won a dozen races here, but I think your highlight reel at Bristol is about as long as his. Or were they highlights?
Well, I think they're for the wrong reasons, but yeah, I've had some intense moments here for sure. I love it. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore.
I love what I'm seeing right now. I love
this has been a wild
tire
one.
management of what we're seeing these guys have to overcome today.
28 lead changes. Now, as we went to break, Denny Hamlin got right up and alongside Ty Gibbs for the lead, and kind of like two tractor trailers on the interstate, fighting their way up a hill, holding traffic back behind them. That's what they did for 4 or 5 laps together, just trying to control the pace of this race.
Yeah, and everybody has the opportunity to do what they need to do. If they want to move forward, they can take that risk of putting more wear on their tires. But you have to get yourself to a certain point in these runs to make the tires last. And the only way to do that is to back the pace down. And they're going to get to the same point. It's just going to take a little bit longer.
And what does Ty Gibbs think of all this?
So I said Larson's a good judge there. He rode with us the whole time. The last time Denny blasted out front, blew himself off and faded. So Larson's your judge, too.
Well, Ty Gibbs had the best car at the end of the last stage, so he's in a
crash. Turn 4. Daniel Hemrick up and against the wall. Zane Smith with him, and Ricky Stenhouse put us under caution.
This all started down the backstretch.
See what we can come up with. Yeah.
We're done. Dang it.
Well, that's the ballpark buns and rolls cam as Stenhouse tries to roll his way back to pit road. A little weeble wobble going on there. 3 cars involved, but as you said, it was a big stack up in turn 3 that led to that in turn 4.
Yeah, I think it actually started off at turn 2 and they stacked up down the back straightaway, and then it just mixed everything up.
I think you're seeing them off of 2 here. They start stacking up around Zane Smith, checking up in front of him as well, and then Stenhouse gets into McDowell there, slides up into, well, he bounces off another one. I think he had some damage in front of his car from what happened in turn 2, and the rest is history. Another caution. I don't think that was on purpose. I think his front end was off. Shot him all over the place. He was along for the ride.
Well, let's go way back. And John Hunter Nemechek was trying to race his way forward on the outside, came down there on Joey Logano, and look at this stack up.
That's exactly what led to the stack up. I saw that first, and then they wrecked back here behind them.
Were Nemechek and Logano just continuing from last week?
I would stay away from Logano if I was Nemechek. He will bite back.
Well, here we go again. We're going to have to pit for another set of tires. They got through, well, let's see, we went 52 of the 125 that have done.
Track sweepers out, working both ends of the racetrack. Once again. .28 cars on the lead lap, including Stenhouse, who may need lengthy repair. Zane Smith has come to pit road early.
Kevin, can they get the marbles cleaned up enough on this outside with these cautions? I see 2 sweep trucks out there trying to clean all these marbles up. Do you think they can get it cleaned up enough where a guy like Larson get up there and run and burn in that outside line like we know that is there and exists?
I just don't think so. I think that with the way that they're having to pace themselves, I think that you know, that it's going to come down to who can have the best handling car to keep the tires underneath the car as long as possible. So
balanced.
It's going to be a balanced race car. I don't think you're going to get up the racetrack today all the way to the top.
Well, we completed the West Coast swing, 2 races this year, and there are your winners out in the West, including Tyler Reddick, who earned the most points of anyone. And Brad Keselowski and Noah Gragson turned their seasons around to the positive in the West. Busch, Cindric, and Wallace not so lucky. Looking for a win, Logano, Austin. Remember, Preece had that penalty to put him way behind, as did Noah Gragson.
You know, Logano started up front, started 4th there in this race, and just marched his way steadily straight to the back. But all these cautions, all these problematic situations for these teams has enabled him to make some adjustments on that car, get himself back up inside the top 10.
And there's a sense of survival to this one.
100%.
You're gonna have several more casualties, and the way that this race has progressed, and these guys have adjusted and adapted to what they need to do with saving the tires. We're gonna see these cars stacked up side by side with each other for a whole bunch of laps as we go forward.
Well, and I do love the fact that come stage in, they have the ability to go when it's ready and to the end of this race.
Well, we've been super speedway, intermediate, short track, and we're going road racing. Next Sunday on Fox in Texas, the twists and turns of Circuit of the Americas. Pre-race at 3 Eastern, engines fire at 3:30. Sunday on Fox. That is a long and winding road. There's the track map of COTA. Now, compared to the short tracks, all right, let's take the length of Bristol, 5/8 of a mile. Let's add the 3/4 of a mile of Richmond, including the paperclip turn. There's Martinsville. You add those 3 tracks together and you're almost halfway around COTA.
There you go. It's a long lap.
Cool racetrack. Can't wait.
Regan.
Mike, Kevin mentioned wanting to have a well-balanced race car for this to be good today. That's exactly what Ty Gibbs has right now. Wants to be just a touch freer, but he likes where it's at for that last run. And the 4-car of Josh Berry right now starts off too tight, builds too loose. He doesn't want to free it up because he's afraid it's going to be too loose by the time he gets to the end of the tire run. Jamie?
Brad Keselowski, 3-time winner here at Bristol, continues his solid run. He said, we're not any worse that run. They'll put 4 tires on it. Meanwhile, the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., I need rear grip, he says. It feels like they wore the rears out worse that time. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and 4 tires.
Thanks, Jamie. I'll be interested in some of the science projects. We mentioned Kyle Busch never went to the bottom of the racetrack on that run. Some other drivers never ventured up top. We'll see what maybe they learned about their tires. Chris Buescher wins the race off pit road, takes on 4 tires, and jumps up 4 positions. Thank the Bandit flight team for the flyover today. And trouble for Ty Gibbs on pit road. Beginning with the right front tire that comes off his car, will roll away out of their pit box. Here's a look at it. And that causes one of the behind the wall guys to drop over the wall to try to retrieve it. And then as he leaves, either the jackman or tire changer got upended. And now he is back in. Regan.
Well, Mike, when things happen quick like they are today, you got to make strategy plays. That's what Chris Gale is doing right now. He is using up his scuff set. Since they're going to be in the back, he said, go ahead and pit right now. We're going to use up the scuff tires so we don't use up the stickers that we think we're going to want later on in the race. Great play by him since they had the penalty.
Well, this is a tire-saving strategy race, and those moves like that are the ones that you have to make in order to win these types of races, to have the best tires at the end of this race, or the most tires at the end of this race. So you know how many sets of tires you have, you know what you're dealing with. This is a different style race, but a lot of these guys have run these styles of race coming up through the ranks. I know I keep going back to the late model stock days, but this is how Ty Gibbs, who we think has the best car and knows how to play this game. Some of these dirt racers, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, they know how to save those tires too. So this has got a high level of interest of how the strategy is going to play out and who's going to do it the best.
All right, Chris Buescher, who took just 2 tires, he and Christopher Bell on the front row. Here's your progressive race summary. 30 lead changes already. 11 different leaders and 28 cars on the lead lap, including Harrison Burton, who gets the free pass. Larry Mack?
Yeah, Mike, I've been running the numbers, and you know, NASCAR may release a set of tires to these teams, but we know we have 10 sets, including those qualifiers. We can't dictate cautions like what we just had, but that first run, up until the point that the 71 had an issue, that was basically 31 laps. And then when Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin had an issue, it's 47 laps. The only way these numbers work, we're going to have to get to a point where we run about 50 laps per run. Again, that's not factoring in the cautions.
You're spot on, Larry. If they can't get any farther than that, I don't care if they get another set of tires, they're still going to be in trouble.
All right, we're back to green. You saw Ricky Stenhouse back out on track after that caution. He is 3 laps down. Chris Buescher.
How about this?
2 tires and the lead.
Started in the trunk.
All right, so here you go. Position yourself. Try to get to the front of the pack and then see who wants to play along and set the pace as to what they think their pace needs to be compared to what your crew is telling you what your pace needs to be.
Pull them reins back.
You got to pull the reins back, and these guys are going at it pretty hard up front.
Buescher is the race's 12th different leader. Will Christopher Bell be the 13th?
Well, that's as fast as we've seen. They definitely ran faster taking off this run than they did the last run.
Yeah, by a good bit too, Kevin.
We're told Todd Gilliland in 7th also took 2 tires on that stop.
I think Bell settled in there in 2nd. He looked like he was going to go up and give him a race there for the lead, Buescher, but I think they've just settled in. And
we got a player. John Hunter Nemechek, just as in the last green flag run, he is on the move.
Well, I can promise you he's going to go to the front. He might not stay there, but if it's on the table, I'm going to go lead me a lap.
And every time these guys do this, they're going to get more and more knowledge about what their tires look like, what their pace was, and that may be why they decided to pick up the pace some. But that pace is slowly going to creep back towards the low 17-second bracket, and everybody in the field knows what their car's issue is and what they've been working on to whether it's the right front tire or the right rear tire they need to save.
Well, by this point, everybody's been told several times, listen to me, make sure that we get green flag runs. We need this thing to go green for a long time here. We cannot keep throwing tires on these things. We're going to be out.
Seventh place here with Berry and Gilliland, and Josh Berry prevails.
Slowing down so much, I've actually heard some cars shifting.
Yeah, it sounded like Joey Logano may have been shifting right there.
He was earlier too.
Here's Josh Berry and crew talking tires.
I think they're mounting an extra set of tires for everybody right now. They better mount more than that. That's what I was thinking. I mean, we're not even 200 laps in yet.
At least everybody won't be aero tight. Got to look at the positives.
Well, there's that. NASCAR VP Elton Sawyer came over to the booth and said that they will release one extra set of tires to each team once Goodyear has all those tires mounted. But he said that's it. That's all the tires there are available are one extra set. NASCAR making the decision early in the race to allow an extra set of tires to help the teams plan their race strategy.
Whoa, hold on to it, Suarez.
Yeah, it's like they got stuck together and he couldn't get off the side of him.
Got loose underneath of him. It just, yeah, as you said, needed that real estate and it wasn't there.
And Justin Haley gets away. Settles in.
They need to settle in. You said it. Settle in here and get these green flag stops. I just was talking about green flag runs. If you don't, even one more set might not be enough.
Now here's Logano trying the high side. And he clears Buscher. That's for 5th place.
Yeah, when the story's really going to start to tell itself is when we get 30 or so laps into this run to see whose cars start falling off. Even though that the pace is slowed down, because you can save the most tires at the beginning of the run. You can do the least amount of stress at the beginning of the run. But we see Ty Gibbs, he's got the fastest car and seems like the best car on the tires. And he's decided that he's going to go and push the pace until he gets the track position that he needs and suffer the consequences at the end of this run in order to get his track position back that he lost on pit road.
He restarted 28th.
Well, that's the only thing he's got to his expense right here. Hey, you might as well go and try to pounce on him, get up there, and then try to slow down, and we'll deal with that when we get there, but we need to get our track position back.
What Kyle Larson, Larry points out, is the only Chevrolet in the top 15, along with 5 Toyotas and 9 Fords. Casgrala in the top 10. He had a difficult practice session, had trouble finding the bottom of the racetrack, but they got him squared away for qualifying, and he's having a good run here.
Yeah, and the hardest thing to do is what Kaz is doing a great job, but what Josh Berry just did, he just had to, he's setting his pace and said, this is as fast as I'm going to run. Go ahead, Kaz, and go on by. I don't want to go any faster right now to save my tires.
Christopher Bell, Martin Truex, John Hunter Nemechek, 3 Toyotas lead at Bristol. The Food City 500 on Fox is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Credit One Bank. 32 laps to go in stage 2. Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Carson Hocevar, contact. The Advent Health Cam on board Eric Jones in 25th after overcoming a pit road penalty earlier. Now Christopher Bell trying to go 2 in a row after he won Phoenix and went into the media center for the winner's debrief. He and Bob Pockrass had it out.
Christopher Bell, NASCAR driver. Did you pick me today?
No, I didn't. I did not pick you.
Bob's picks are notoriously the worst. If he picks you, or at least me, if he picks me, I don't win.
Yeah, I picked you last week.
I know, and I sucked.
So that was all you last week.
I'll own it, yeah. Well, you picked me, so you jinxed me.
All right, well.
Don't pick me next week, Bob.
Bob Pockrass is our Fox NASCAR insider. We certainly appreciate his hard work. And oh, by the way, Christopher, Bob picked Ryan Blaney this week to win.
That's as loose as I've ever seen Christopher Bell. He is loose behind the wheel, no pressure, getting the job done, taking care of business.
Ty Gibbs, you know, we're talking during the break. How far forward in this run does he need to get before he's comfortable? Well, he's up to 4th, and it looks like he is not letting off at all. He wants to get all the way back to the lead.
Well, it's on the table, right? And I think it's on the table for a lot of these drivers, but you saw me circle it. Still 25 laps to go. We need to make sure that he keeps these tires underneath of it and finishes this thing.
Well, when we got to the end of the first stage and everybody was going as hard as they could go, he had by far the best car that seemed to be the easiest on the tires and wound up winning stage 1. Now he's come all the way from the back, all the way back to 3rd place. So we'll see how much he's got left after he's had to be a little harder on his tires than he wants to be.
Gibbs restarted 28th, and around goes Kyle Busch in turn 2. Caution waves. Now remember, Busch had been running up the racetrack ever since he had that flat tire that brought out the caution back at lap 123.
Ooh, stepped out from underneath of him. Win all by himself. I see the tires still up.
Yeah, we saw so many guys have trouble with that in qualifying yesterday. They'd run one hard lap in, and then the second lap into turn 3, it would just slide out from underneath them as they go off into the corner. That looked like what happened.
There's another set of tires for these guys. These crew chiefs were hoping that we can make it to the stage end here.
Ricky Stenhouse's ballpark view here.
Yeah, and that spin out actually happened into turn 1, not turn 3. Same scenario though, just the back just gets light and steps out on you.
Kyle was running 31st, 1 lap down. And he and Austin Cindric had been racing pretty hard together. Cindric will get the free pass. That's what they were battling for, was the free pass position. No contact, single car spin. So we are 21 laps from the stage end. Here's some audio from Kyle Busch.
After 4 laps, I'm plowing tight, so I don't even know what to tell you.
Hey, look, last year I went 5 laps down here, running as hard as I could go. The car didn't do anything that we expected it to do. Always a great racetrack for us. Same thing for Kyle Busch. Always a great racetrack for them. Went to the start of the race and everything went pretty good. Had the tire failure, and now he's talking about, you know, the car won't turn, and he's having some big handling issues. I'm sure that it drug some stuff off underneath the car, and you know, the day has definitely progressed in the wrong direction for him.
He's won more races here, twice as many as the next highest winning active driver.
Well, here's
tough day.
20 to go here. Let's see if the pit's open this time. I mean, these guys it's open. Well, green light's not on yet.
Larry, any chance you'd want to ride out this stage on the tires you got?
Mike, that was 38 laps, which is a lot of laps, but I get a feeling that we're probably not going to go back racing till around 10 or so laps to go. You could definitely save a set of tires, but the price you're going to pay, you're going to have to pit at the end of the stage, and anybody that pits here, they're going to leapfrog you as far as track position.
Okay.
Flip side of that is we just saw it with Ty Gibbs. At will, you can drive up through him. I mean, he passed 24 cars that run. I believe that that's on the table. We can definitely get there. If you can save the tires and it comes of need at the end of this thing, it might just be the winning combination.
This might be a good time to put scuffs on like that 54 car did a while ago, because they work pretty good.
There's your Monster Energy cam on board Tyler Reddick. Reddick had a rough start to the day, spinning at lap 32 and working his way back. Reddick is 3 laps down.
Well, we see a lot of scuffed tires on the wall there. We saw Ty Gibbs do that so that they used up their qualifying set of tires that NASCAR allows them to put on during the race, and you see the rubber buildup on that tire just from qualifying and what they did coming into the pits after their qualifying run. So most of these tires only have a couple laps on them, but you don't want to use your sticker sets because tires are at a premium today.
Now pit road did not open that time because the sweeper and jet dryer trucks were working the low groove near the entrance of pit road. They didn't want to impede that.
Well, they keep running around here under caution. I don't see the green lights are on yet. They keep doing this. Just to Larry's point, you keep getting closer to the stage in here, you may not pit.
Hey, Kevin and Clint, when we used to have tire issues because they were too soft, what would we do in practice when we had all of our tires? What would we do with them, maybe for a lap or two? Scuff them, right? I just wonder, we don't have that choice because you don't have but one set of scuffs, but I just think about what that 54 car was able to do on those set of scuffs that probably was a little toughened up because they were run yesterday.
Well, I think any strategy is a strategy that might work right now, because I think this is kind of trial and error, and as you go here to see what's right and what's wrong. So these scuffed tires that most all these guys have up on the wall, you're going to have to use them anyway. So you might as well pick a time to use them up.
They're not going to open this pits. They're going to help these teams get closer to the end of this thing and help them manage this set of tires, saving a set of tires here.
Yeah, I think what they're doing, Clint, is trying to keep the apron clean so they don't drag it all into the pits with all those blowers and everything on the bottom of the racetrack, and then you have the sweepers up on top. They're trying to get as much of that debris up as possible.
So let's take a look at today's Protecting the Lead, sponsored by Armor All Protectant. Ty Gibbs had a long lead, made a pit stop, got a penalty, and battled his way right back toward the front. Currently in 3rd place under this caution flag. Pit road is open.
Well, there's your answer. The whole field's pitting.
Regan?
For a few.
20 of Christopher Bell, just a little bit free with his car right now. Wants a small change for that. Again, it's managing tires and 2 tires for him. You see that there. The 54 of Ty Gibbs, really good. Tick tight center, but really good with his car. He likes it, and they were coaching him up heavily about what he needed to do to save those tires. Jamie.
Many different strategies here. Brad Keselowski a little too tight. They talked about taking scuffs. How about this, guys? The 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Left side stickers, right side scuffs.
What I think these guys are going to do, if they have the affordability now, I think it'll be close to inside of 10 laps to go. They're going to stay out of this stage and save a set of tires here.
Christopher Bell leads the race off pit road. Corey LaJoie is the first of those who stayed out.
Tailgate Kings of Bristol. Man, so much fun over the years I've had interacting with the fans all over the place here. Look at this setup up here. I think that's up there overlooking the drag strip. Always a good time to be had up there. Parked up there with those families a few times. A lot of families at these racetracks. Always been a family sport for me. Glad to see these kids out here today.
All right, 2 penalties on pit stops. Ryan Blaney too fast entering. He'll start at the tail end of the 29 lead lap cars, and Kyle Busch had a safety violation. Luck of the Irish. Who's got it today? I'd say Ty Gibbs so far. Let's see what Corey LaJoie and Carson Hocevar, teammates who did not pit, can do here and pick up some stage points. Bell and Nemechek on fresh tires right behind. Here we go.
See both of those cars really struggling in the way there. A lot of people scrambling to get around Hocevar. LaJoie as well. Here comes Nemechek on the outside of him. Christopher Bell on point.
Well, I think one of the plays right here is they're hoping that they don't get lapped or wrecked.
Or wrecked. More importantly, 3 wide all around them. People scrambling to try to get through them.
9 to go in the stage.
They will have an extra set of tires.
Well, LaJoie has had success with this move on different racetracks, but trying to hold his own and stay in the top 10. However, Hocevar has slid way back into traffic, and a couple of drivers have just done a tattoo on his bumper. 8 to go.
He was definitely in the way. Look at Logano in the inside, little love tap.
That did not move Christopher Bell, and Nemechek is right there as well.
Bell slid up the racetrack, opened the door up. Here comes Logano on the inside. The race is on for the stage end.
Well, Joey Logano knows he needs these points. With as bad as the beginning of his season has started, he needs this stage win and the points to go with it.
Door slam off of 2. Bell's trying to hold him down on the exits, take that exit away from him. Good race for the lead.
6 to go, and Nemechek is there as well.
Gonna get it. Bell had to lift.
And here comes Ty Gibbs. Josh Berry has a problem backing up through the field. 5-way battle for the stage 2 win here.
Man, that Gibbs car is so strong today. Rolls that outside very well.
He restarted 11th, and he's up to 2nd.
Yeah, and I think Christopher Bell has backed off some to try to save his tires a little bit to do exactly what you might have been talking about. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of this stage, who stays out and who doesn't.
Well, if you can't win the stage, what's one more point?
Yeah, he's definitely into tire conservation mode, it looks like to me, to try to stay out.
Can Ty Gibbs get this lead from Logano?
3 to go. LaJoie has fallen to 20th, and Hocevar to the tail end of the lead lap. So that staying out did not prosper for either of them. Here we go for the lead. Lap and a half to go in the stage. Ty Gibbs takes it away from Joey Logano.
Rifled that car off into 3.
Little wiggle on exit.
Comes Keselowski the outside of Logano as well for 2nd place.
And I think he's been right there with Ty Gibbs as he came through the field. When he went by Brad Keselowski, he followed him right through the rest of the pack to the front. But that 54 car is definitely the dominant car.
Ty Gibbs sweeps the stages in Bristol.
Now the decision time is on. I think they stay out. I want to save this set of tires.
Stage end pit stops when we come back. Ty Gibbs, class of the field so far today.
That's such a win, I would say.
As mad as I ever was.
Literally look crazed, like so angry.
It's like, oh God, we only have one pair of those. So I started wearing glasses and I was like, wow, this is really good, but I hated the glasses that I started with. So I migrated to just trying different pairs of glasses, and I wound up with those glasses right there. It was the only pair that I had. They had metal arms on them, and
they needed it.
Hugo Boss glasses that fit inside my helmet so nice, and the frames were narrow, and if those would have fallen down, I don't know what I would have done.
Well, you can find out Tuesdays and Thursdays on Happy Hour, presented by NASCAR on Fox.
Well, I would have been in big trouble, and see, I like my glasses, so don't give me any grief about my glasses. I have to wear them to work. I had to wear them to drive, and it was a life changer for me.
You mean because you could
actually see? Yeah, I beat you blind.
that cuts.
All right, it is time. The games have begun. Shots are fired, and old Clint's ready. How many laps did you finish down this race here? Five laps down.
5.
You had one hell of a streak going and blew it on your last time here. What was it? 32 lead lap finishes in a row.
It was bad.
And on your exit strategy, blew it. Must not have been wearing your glasses.
I should have just taken them off. I might have done better.
Well, Ty Gibbs maxed out on stage points today, got all 20 for winning both stages. Brad Keselowski, 16. John Hunter Nemechek, Kyle Larson, Truex and Bell all scored big. And the pits will be open next time.
Guys, I may have been wrong. A lot of these teams out here got these tires ready, sitting in the box on the ready. I believe they're going to throw another set on it. We'll see.
Austin Dillon gets the free pass.
Here they come.
And everybody but Austin Dillon that's on the lead lap comes to pit road. Regan.
Well, the 54 Ty Gibbs talking in code words the entire time until the very end when they decided to pit. The pit call was Doberman. You see that must evidently be 2 tires in the 22 of Joey Logano on pit road. They're going to use up their scuff tires right now so they don't have to later on. Jamie.
Brad Keselowski said, I don't think I've ever been part of a race where we could run out of tires. They took 4 stickers last stop. They've got stickers this time as well. The 42, John Hunter Nemechek, right side scuffs. Last time around, they're going to do stickers there as he stopped a little sideways in his box.
Oh, he called! Big trouble right there. Cindric hits him in the right front wheel. Couldn't get out of his box slow. Cindric comes sliding in, nailed him.
And Ty Gibbs had to wait to leave his pit box as Daniel Suarez was pulling in right in front of him. Still, Gibbs gets off pit road first. Logano second, and somebody's lost a wheel on pit road.
One thing's for sure, you can always expect the unexpected at Bristol. We've seen that. 36 lead changes. The guy out front for both of the stages has been 21-year-old Ty Gibbs. Man, he's led over 43 laps at this point, keeps ticking them over. Shannon and Jamie, but you say that there's a guy in the field right now that could give him a run for his money.
Well, I like Brad Keselowski. He's obviously won here 3 times before. He's been really good in both stages, but he just had that huge issue on pit road, Shannon. We'll have to see how that car is.
We're getting ready for this this little report right here, and then Brad Keselowski has those troubles on pit road, just kind of goes bomb, bomb, bomb. Right, Mike?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. You're not the only one who picked him, because it's time for our Credit One Bank ones to watch. Who not named Ty Gibbs? Do you have an eye on?
That's the key to that. But no, it's not wah, Shannon. It is the 6 ball. Brad Keselowski, he's got King's wine on the side of that thing, and that is why he's going to, after 102 races, put this baby in victory lane at Bristol.
Clint was busy eating King's Hawaiian rolls while Brad Keselowski was getting hit in the wheel. So I'm going to say the 20 of Christopher Bell is the guy that can compete to win this race.
Trying to two-peat today.
That's right.
Joey Logano, well, he's had an interesting day. He's had 2 Bristol wins, but the last one came nearly a decade ago. Still, he seems to have been the class of the Fords and is running second right now. So those are some of the ones to watch as we roll into stage number 3. Everybody's talking tires. What else are they talking about? Here's our radio remix.
I'm asking, do you think it's the resin that's causing the wear on the right side? Or do you think it's the concrete not taking rubber, just trying to make sure we don't pop a tire?
And a spin in turn 2, and it's Kyle Busch.
There's no way everybody has enough tires to get through the rest of this race.
Does NASCAR have like a crisis management team? Because this seems like a crisis right now.
Obviously, whole field managing tires here. Yeah, even the leaders to fire off were slow.
First race back on concrete in the spring after 3 years of dirt track racing here at Bristol. And NASCAR has now released the extra set of tires that teams brought wheels over to have them mounted on. So that gives them a total of 10 new sets for the race, plus 1 set of scuffed carryovers from qualifying. So big rush to get those back to the pits, measured up and ready for action. Well, let's have a look at what's on the menu, sponsored by Cracker Barrel. Larry?
Boy, this is a tough one, Mike, because we got this tire situation. But right there around lap 325, if the caution comes out, pit for fuel there. That way you don't have to worry about fuel anymore. If you feel something with your race car, with your tires, don't stay out there. Hit pit road. Only think about staying out in the final 25 to 30 laps if tire wear has improved.
A lot of ifs.
Well, history will tell you tire wear does improve, but history today, on this day, hasn't been the case.
Gibbs and Truex bring us back to green for stage 3. Logano and Bell right behind. Nemechek's been tough all day with Gilliland, Keselowski and Chastain, Larson and Wallace the top 10.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Ty Gibbs and you see that huge gap behind you, you just want to check up and back up to the car that's behind you, because you want to save as much tire as possible in order to get as far into this run as possible with as much tire left on the car.
Chastain finally Chastain has reached the top 10 from dead last today. He's here, folks.
And Chastain took right side tires only on that last stop, Larry tells us.
And that was a great time to be able to do those right side tires only with such a short run on the lefts and have the least amount of loss with the 4-tire grip. But you see Ross Chastain wanting to go, and Brad Keselowski's like, nope, this is the pace I'm going, and there's nowhere for you to go. So you can beat my back bumper off, and I don't care.
Now at the front of that pack is Joey Logano in 4th place. He and his team talking strategy.
So we're going to run out of tires. We're going to have to use our scuff here. So I was thinking about putting them on this next run, starting the stage. Yeah, I guess you use them early than late, I guess. You're going to have them at some point, I assume, right? Plus, you're going to shorten this race, and NASCAR's saying only giving us 1 more set of tires. So how are we going to make all that work?
Well, scuffed tires. We saw Ty Gibbs put scuffed tires on his 54 machine and drove straight to the front from way deep in the field.
Well, this is not the normal race that you guys are typically accustomed to watching at home, where there's a huge strategy element that's come into play with the tires and the wear and everything that's happening on the racetrack. And now you have to pace yourself. You have to set a pace with the car and lap time.
Well, at least 4 drivers took just 2 tires on that stop. Ty Gibbs, the race leader. Todd Gilliland, Ross Chastain, and Harrison Burton each took just 2 tires. That's at least the 2nd time that Gilliland has done that today.
Seems like it just keeps getting more cloudy outside, which means it's probably getting more cool too, and I don't think that's helping this scenario one bit.
Well, the thing that's going to help the scenario the most is everybody knows what they have now, and now they've had a look at their tires from that long run of when they saved and were able to run more deeper into the run to see what those tires look like. As we look at the lap times with Ty Gibbs, he's running about 16.65, and that is a little bit faster than I would probably say that they ran before, because they were in the 17 flats, and so they have picked up the pace a little bit. And I think Ty can push that pace because he has the best car, and he knows that his car has been the best on the tires.
And his fastest lap of the race came right off the restart for stage 3.
Wow.
That's bad news for everybody else.
That is bad news. And Ty Gibbs can put all these cars right here that you see on the screen. He can put this whole field in a complete state of misery if he can run that much faster than everybody else with his tire wear being good. And he's going to want to push the pace in order to make everybody else try to push the pace to wear their tires out. So he's in complete control of this race because he has the best car and the best tire wear. Larry?
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to say, Kevin, is they have made an additional stop. They are on their 8th set of tires right now. With NASCAR giving these teams one more set, that means they only have 3 sets left. Ross Chastain is in the same boat. Everybody else with the additional set will have 4 sets of tires laying in the pits, and we have over 200 laps to go. So I'm a little concerned about that.
If that's the case, the old Paul Harvey just caught you big time, Kevin. I mean, oh boy.
Well, I think what one scenario that might be that he took those stickers off and put those scuffs on. So it's either way, he's got the best car, and he can push the pace and make this miserable on the guys whose cars are only able to keep up with them setting the pace. And when the pace, it's just gonna stretch the bad cars longer along to being bad, and the good cars are still going to be the good cars, but it's just going to go further into the run.
That's the only way they keep that guy down, is to be able to have another set of tires over him.
Boy, Joey Logano,
Kevin, that will
up.
give them another set. That will give them another set. They pulled those tires right back off, so they'll be even kill with everybody else. Talking about Ty Gibbs.
10-4.
Back in the game, baby.
My compadre is defeated. He thought he had one up on me right here.
Larry, man, I thought you was.
All right, lead is tightening up. Yes, Martin Truex right to the back bumper now of his teammate and race leader Ty Gibbs. All right, so let's think team racing here for a moment. How much does Truex pressure Gibbs at this point, and why?
Well, and the why is what I like right there. He's going to pass him. He's going to go out there and lead this lap. I want it. But the key is, you have the 20 behind them as well. You have 3 Gibbs cars, 1, 2, 3 right here. Let's manage this situation. Let's pace the field and just keep them at arm's length.
Well, these guys, the Gibbs cars had the best cars in the fall. It was Gibbs and RFK. And last week at Phoenix, these guys led a ton of laps, and Christopher Bell won the race. So the Gibbs cars have been really good on these short tracks. And let's also not forget that Ty Gibbs put 2 tires on that particular pit stop, and
3 wide. Joey Logano was backing up, and Ryan Blaney wasn't going to wait. Took him 3 wide to get around.
Yeah, Joey's definitely off the pace this run for sure.
Now Christopher Bell goes to 2nd.
He's lost 18 positions this run. As a matter of fact, Joey Logano.
Well, we heard him talk about putting their scuffed tires on. And you know, he may also know that he can only go so fast because he's had right front tire issues before everybody had right front tire issues, and at the beginning of the race went straight to the back as well. So he's got a couple things that could be possibly working against him.
So Blaney is 18th and works on Daniel Suarez for another spot here.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney got to the back of the pack because of that pit road penalty that he had. So he's had to pace himself and pick his moments to work himself back forward.
The outside is actually worn in a little bit. They've got it cleaned up a little bit in 1 and 2, but no man's laying down in 3 and 4. If they get off the door of them in 3 and 4 the least little bit, they're in trouble. 3 and 4, or excuse me, 1 and 2, they can almost be like in that third lane already.
Todd Gilliland, another of those on just 2 tires, holding on to a top 10 spot. The track just above the resin area just doesn't seem to be taking any rubber.
Well, that's what I was talking about. I think they have to first clean it up, right? See a lot of marbles up there, and 1 and 2, they seem to be doing that a little bit better in 3 and 4.
Eric Jones, Chris Buescher, and Ryan Blaney, 15th through 17th.
Well, and as we run here, Clint, this is starting to look more like a typical Bristol race with everything starting to stretch out a little bit because no matter what the pace is, like I said a minute ago, this is still going to be, it's going to come down to handling. It's just a matter of what lap that handling starts to affect whose car. But as you talked about, Joey Logano going to the back of the pack, it sure doesn't look like that's where he would choose to be.
No, that car didn't answer at all to those scuffed tires. He's by far the worst.
Well, Christopher Bell, as you watch from that front bumper Toyota cam, got right up to Martin Truex, but if these Toyotas are just swapping the lead back and forth, Bell right now is content to ride in second as Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson discuss 5th place. Martin Truex out in front as we close in on 200 laps to go in Bristol. David Pearson was the first to win at Bristol on St. Patrick's Day, 1968 for the Silver Fox. And the legend Cale Yarborough did it for Junior Johnson in 1974, while Casey Kane scored here in 2013. The beer is green, the stream is green, and here are all of NASCAR's St. Patrick's Day winners, beginning with Massachusetts driver Ralph Moody at Wilson, North Carolina in 1957. A lot of Hall of Famers on that list. He may have been there, or at least his hat. Martin Truex leading Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin, who's battling Brad Keselowski for fourth. The Joe Gibbs Toyotas, 1, 2, 3, and almost fourth right here.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski's been good, and we're starting to see some handling issues throughout the field. There's Joey Logano's going backwards, the 9 cars going backwards. There's this handling issue. Harrison Burton just had to pit. He had the same issue. When these right rear tires shut off, or the right front, whatever your issue is, it's over.
There's, oh, Josh Berry in the wall.
Turn 2, took a complete spin in turn number 2 and brought out the 8th caution at lap 310.
Man, you're right, Kevin. Chase Elliott was in big trouble there, going a lap down right as that caution came out for Josh Berry.
Berry was running 8th, and it looks like his Stewart-Haas teammate Noah Gragson will be the free pass car. Here's a look off in the distance.
See him sideways, came around. How about that 360?
Ooh,
good driving. I didn't even think he hit the wall.
Well, when those right rear tires wear out, it's like you're driving on ice. Saw that happen to Kyle Busch earlier.
Well, I think that was the case with Chase Elliott in the 9 car. The guys were digging up radio communication. He said, "Boys, I've worn my stuff out again."
And this isn't the only track we see this at. Las Vegas is another racetrack that we see those right rear tires just completely wear out if your car's not handling or you're abusing your car.
Well, we did get, Larry, just about 50 laps on that green flag run. And you told us earlier you needed at least 50 laps on each run to be able to manage the tires you have left. Where do we stand now?
Yeah, they're about to put their 8th set on, Mike, and you're right. We were about 45 to 47 laps there, which right now seems to be the number.
311 laps complete. Caution out at Bristol. 185 laps to go. There's our Fox race tracker up at the top of the screen, showing you the 8 caution flags, including the stage ending cautions that we've had so far. 10 new sets of tires, plus 1 set of scuffs, plus 1 additional new set of tires that Goodyear mounted up and NASCAR has allowed to be used due to the high incidence of tire wear here. In just 2 weeks, pro football returns to Fox. The UFL kicks off March 30th with USFL champion Birmingham taking on XFL champ Arlington. Then kickoff weekend continues Sunday, March 31st over on ESPN. United Football League debut. Joe Gibbs Racing has 4 at the top of the board, all 4. Brad Keselowski, the one Ford that can run with him. Kyle Larson has been the standout for Chevrolet today. And as they come to pit road, here's Regan.
Christopher Bell in second place, reports to his crew chief Adam Stevens. The car is really, really good right there. Adam Stevens let him know that last run should be exactly what you have as we continue on throughout the rest of the race in terms of the length of it. In the 54, Ty Gibbs doesn't need anything, and 54 does not need anything. Jamie.
Denny Hamlin said on the short run he's tight. On the long run he's a little free. Sticker tires here for Hamlin, wants a slight adjustment. His teammate, the 19, Martin Truex Jr., pretty neutral there, wasn't pushing it, so he's like, I don't know what we can adjust, guys. Just 4 sticker tires for the 19.
Hamlin and Bell first off pit road, with Gibbs and Larson, then Truex. And that will be, I believe, the 40th lead change of the day, as Josh Berry, one of his crewmen, gets upended. Four races in. William Byron, Daniel Suarez on the super speedways, Kyle Larson at Las Vegas, and Christopher Bell at Phoenix at Bend to Victory Lane, who will join them here in Thunder Valley today. We're 180 laps from finding out, and Denny Hamlin has just led for the 7th time today. That's the 40th lead change of the race, which ties the record for lead changes in a NASCAR short track race set April 1991, won by Rusty Wallace. We listened in on Denny Hamlin.
See Corey Fords in the 54, nothing in the 20, and nothing in the 19. Oh, what I wouldn't give for your eyes.
Let's check with Jamie.
Well, Mike, you can add the 11 of Denny Hamlin to the list of guys with cords. That was about a 46-lap run. Right here, this is the right front of Denny Hamlin. His crew chief, Chris Gabehart, told him that's probably because we were tight on the short run, so they did make a slight adjustment there to help out.
Thanks, Jamie. Hamlin, Bell, Gibbs, and Truex. 4 Joe Gibbs Toyotas under a blanket. Then add Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski. Nemechek, Blaney, Gilliland, and Haley are the top 10. 31 cars on the lead lap.
Well, the Gibbs cars are in control of this race. They're in control of the pace, and the whole field knows it, I think, Clint.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's just going to come down to timing of this. You know that they're pulling the reins back, and it's going to be time to let these things run. The question is when.
Hamlin with a good jump holds the lead. But here comes Ty Gibbs.
On both sides. Christopher Bell thought better of it on the backside of him, but man, 4 cars at Gibbs. 4-horse race so far.
Right now, the main goal is to get yourself to the end of this race. Put yourself in position to have the tires that you need. Know where your race car's at and how hard you can push it, what your pace needs to be, and what you can have left at the end of those runs to be able to win.
That's things in your control.
That's right.
How about somebody else wrecking in the back of this thing and taking all that off your plate, forcing you to make a different decision? That's where it's going to come down to.
So, Larry, what's that going to take to get us to the finish?
Yeah, Mike, we went back racing at 178 laps to go. Everybody, including the set that they're going to get from NASCAR, they'll have 3 sets laying. The math says they can run here. If they can run about 43 to 45 laps a run. Now, again, that's not factoring in cautions. That's just straight up 43 to 45 laps a run. You can make it to lap 500 on what you have.
Again, you know, you're talking about, Kevin, you're talking about these Gibbs cars managing the scenario that's in front of them. Somebody could take that out of there. Looking back here, Logano and Dillon off of 4. I mean, these guys are crossed up, beating and banging on one another. If caution comes out in the back of this, that's what's going to dictate whether or not people have to pit and forced out of their strategy.
Here's Ty Gibbs and company on their tire situation.
I would say Ty, the right front, that last one that came off had a 2-inch strip missing kind of all the way around, so it didn't have many more laps. We probably overtaxed it a little bit, though, with, you know, older left sides. Unless this goes longer here, so we're probably talking 41 a set, basically.
Yeah, he's talking about those left side tires. His last run, he had old left side tires on compared to the cars that he was racing around. So he's still got the best car. He's still got the speed in the car when he needs it. He's still got the tire wear that he needs. But his crew chief, that's great information, telling him, hey, when you have a chance, you need to take care of that right front tire, because that's your weak point. That's going to be your breaking point that you need to save and try to get yourself to the end of the race by taking care of that right front.
Yeah, definitely not a for sure lock here, driver. Make sure you keep it in check. You're in the lead. Manage that lead.
Well, someone forgot to tell Todd Gilliland. Here he comes again, steaming around the outside in 5th place. At least twice today they've taken on only 2 tires, not including this last stop. But here's Gilliland moving into 5th.
And there's Truex saying, go get it, buddy. Yeah. I'll see you in a little while.
Yeah, and that's the game. The second half of the field is like, okay, I got to get track position. So they're up on the outside or inside, wherever they can go to try to get up there and get that track position and then take care of their tires. The guys up front are in the advantage because they can get the lead. They have clean air. They don't have to push their car as hard because they don't have to work their way through traffic.
Gilliland's teammate Michael McDowell in a top 10 position there, and Ricky Stenhouse 2 laps down. Tyler Reddick 3 down after being involved in incidents earlier today.
When we get to the end of this run, when we get to that 40-lap mark, which we're gonna, I have a feeling we're gonna run, right up against that 35-40 lap mark with the handling issues, just like we saw in the last stage, and you're going to see some of these guys that have pushed forward all of a sudden just drop like a rock, and that's going to be from those cords starting to peek through on the tires, whether it's the right front or the right rear. When it does, like I said before, I've said this a few times now, when that right front cord or that right rear cord pokes through, it is lights out, and you feel like that tire is about to fall off the car because it has no more rubber and is not doing anything else on the car.
Justin Haley, top 10 effort out of him. It's a great run for Rick Ware Racing in that 51 car so far.
.163 laps to go. There's the lead gap from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, powering every mile and every moment on NASCAR's road to victory. Goodyear, more driven.
Well, we see that same pace. It's about exactly the same as what those leaders ran the last time with those 1660s, 70s, 1680 that lap. That's the pace that they feel like they need to run to get those 50 laps in or 60 laps in on their set of tires. And I don't think anybody else can do that.
And you can see it right there on that aerial shot. You can just see how far away they're gapping the field right now. Larson, the only one there kind of holding pace with him, but I think he just sits back there. It's not like they're going anywhere. Going to be able to run them down in a hurry if you want to.
Yeah, if you're not in that first four group, if you're Kyle Larson and you can just keep them in your sights, you're keeping yourself in the game.
Which we've watched him do since that second caution. You heard Cliff Daniels warn him about it, and he's done a phenomenal job of managing that situation.
I've watched a lot of sprint car races where he sits back there and does that too, and next thing you know, all of a sudden here he is.
That's a dirt racer. Manage those tires. You cannot go out there and blow the tires off this thing 10 laps in, melt down, and back up through the field.
Gilliland backing up a bit there as Berry, Bowman, and Jones all streamed past.
Yeah, you see Josh Berry in front of Eric Jones right there. I mean, he's had an up and down day, qualified on the front row, and was able to lead some laps, and really felt like this style of race is where he needed to be. But you saw him spin out, and you know, really hasn't been able to. It doesn't seem like he's got the capability of the 54 to just drive back up there, and he knows that he has to take care of the car, and it just happens at a slower rate getting back to the front.
So now Briscoe and Chastain have worked their way past Gilliland. Here comes Preece on the inside and Buescher from behind. Larry says he'd like to see us get to about lap 365 or lap 370 before drivers start pitting for a new set of tires.
Yeah, and
you just don't want to be that caution at lap 370.
Right.
That's right.
That's what I'm thinking. I think that danger zone becomes, you know, before 370 when we started to see people having trouble cording their tires.
Well, we heard Larry talk earlier about if you feel a problem, just hit pit road. And a lot of these guys are going to push it as far as they can push it because they just know that if they go one more lap, maybe two more laps, that it might be somebody else.
So with Ty Gibbs leading Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell, 151 to go. We'll go Fox Cycling. Every time today, Ty Gibbs has wanted the lead. He's just driven to the front and taken it. Car on the wall, turn 4. Daniel Hemrick bounces off the wall.
Still green.
Keeps going, and we stay green for the moment. And looks like Hemrick will have to go at least another lap before he gets to pit road. No caution. Well, Toyota shut out a victory lane and the front row in the first 3 races this season, scoring in the last 2 with a pole, a win, and 4 stage wins.
Well, they dominated at Phoenix. I felt like we saw Tyler Reddick win a dual race in Daytona.
Front stretch. Noah Gregson hit the wall in turn 4.
I think it's the same exact thing we saw. I think these tires are starting to go again.
Still green.
He's in big time trouble, as was Hemrick. Trying to nurse it around there. Very reminiscent of what he's going to pit.
Yeah, under green.
That's 40 laps, Clint.
Yep, right on the dot.
And under green, you can pull onto the pit road on the side of the track where your pit is. You don't have to go all the way around.
I think this is the danger zone we speak of. I think it's going to start happening again. Speaking of happening, here Denny Hamlin is looking to the inside of your leader. Ty Gibbs takes it.
Hamlin back to the front, leading for the 8th time today.
Well, we see these cars drop off like a rock, and when they do, we've slowed the pace down, and everybody's trying to take care of their cars. But at some point, all the handling still goes away on the bad cars.
Larry, we're in the window, 366.
Yeah, we just crossed the danger zone. Now the window is there about lap 370, about 5 laps from now, Mike.
Okay.
We're going to get a caution here in the next 5 laps. I'm pretty convinced.
I agree.
Of that.
They're dropping like flies. Here's Harrison Burton way off the pace. There's 3 or 4 of them out here just nursing around. Reddick getting into 3. See him off the pace. Gilliland right behind him. He's having trouble.
Burton way up the racetrack, but stays out because nobody wants to be the caution or cause the caution.
Burton way off the pace in 3 and 4.
Yeah, and it's a game of chicken right now. You don't want to pit because you're hoping that somebody else has the issue, as you see him go by Todd Gilliland, and Stenhouse goes around.
Turn 4, Stenhouse and Cindric. That will bring the caution out.
Right in front of the leaders.
Sure was. Well, we're
368.
Still trending right to be able to get these teams down to the end. That's at Gillen. I told you it was way off the pace. Stacked them all up, getting in here. Cindric shoots in the inside 3 wide and gets into Stenhouse and wipes him out.
Yeah, it looked like he just clipped the apron right there. Just overcooked it, but they were getting lapped and knew that they had to do something that was not capable of what their car could do.
Well, it was his chance right here. Got probably back on the lead lap. I don't know if he caused the caution, though. You're going to get it anyway. Definitely caused the caution.
I think we may see that Todd Gilliland ends up in the free pass position here. Stenhouse, you hear the tires chattering as he goes around.
That was actually him working the throttle. Oh, man. Great move by Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell right there to avoid the car sitting in the middle of the racetrack like that.
But it just shows you how hard it is to get woed up at this racetrack and the speeds you're carrying around here.
And that's Bristol. How many times have you been running at the front of this race and you start to get into lap traffic, and then all of a sudden the lap traffic gets antsy and starts to get in a panic and do things that are outside.
They're desperate. You're going to put them a lap down.
Desperate, yeah. And all of a sudden the wreck's right in front of the leaders, and that wreck right there in front of the leaders just happened to not gather them up in the wreck.
That happened, though, because Gilliland was in trouble. He was way off the pace. He was one of probably 4 cars that were just nursing it around there. You know, they're on the cords trying to get it to a caution.
All those cars
happened.
All those cars were in trouble.
Absolutely.
The 47, all of them were getting lapped, or 38 was in big trouble.
And look at the track surface. If you're a lap car, you can't go all the way up and just rim ride around the wall to try to stay out of the way. It's all marbles up there.
Yeah.
Been a wild one. It certainly has been a lot to take in here today at Bristol.
But that's what makes these teams great, and these drivers and crew chiefs and everybody on these teams great. They can adapt and adjust, whether it's strategy, driving style, handling of their race cars. You have to be versatile in these situations to be able to make your car do things that you didn't have a plan for.
Watch Christopher Bell snake his way through here.
And look how far ahead they are and how hard it is to get stopped. Downshift, 2.
Wow.
Did a good job of getting slowed down. That's hard to do.
Well, you saw him reach up there, grab a downshift.
Twice.
Try to keep the wheels straight, hard on the brake, straight, and then at the last second, crank it to the left.
Let's have a look at some of these drivers' records on the concrete at Bristol. Top 9 in the last 3 races for Byron Hamlin. And Truex and Logano, only 1 top 10 between them in the last half dozen or more races.
That's the one that surprises me right here. That's 2 big-time names, champions, 20th or worse.
Well, Kyle Busch has not had really any great finishes in this next-gen car here at Bristol.
Here.
Lead lap cars head for pit road once again. Regan.
Well, Mike, these guys still continuing to try and make these cars perfect. The 20 of Christopher Bell wants to be just a little bit looser, and we're talking minimal adjustment for everybody right now, asking for lap times on every lap of the race, which is a little abnormal. The 54 of Ty Gibbs, they got him just a little bit tight. He needs to be freed up just a little bit. They went too far with it at the last stop. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin, the 11 team, they like what they saw in that last run. Said he was pretty neutral. They're going to make a little bit more of an air pressure adjustment in the right front. The 19, Martin Truex Jr., still pretty okay, has a little bit of a brake shake, wants to be able to push just a little harder. Mike.
Denny Hamlin going to bring them off pit road with Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, and Kyle Larson. .125 laps to go. Todd Gilliland caused this stack up that ended up in putting us under caution for the 9th time today.
Would have made it worse.
.124 laps to go in Thunder Valley, Tennessee. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, Kyle Larson, the one non-Toyota in the top 5, his Chevrolet. Brad Keselowski, 6th, is the leading Ford in this race. Now, Greg Stucker with Goodyear met with the media a few minutes ago.
We tested here last year with the intent to come up with a tire package that generated more tire wear. That was the request from NASCAR and the teams. So now we're trying to understand what's different, why is the racetrack behaving differently this weekend than what it did a year ago. It's the same package, it's the same tire combination. Obviously the difference is resin was placed on the lower groove instead of the PJ1. Yet I still think the racetrack should be taking rubber as it did last fall.
So here's the interesting piece is that we didn't put the PJ1 down, we put resin down instead. The reason that we did that is this is a wet weather racetrack now. So everybody felt like the PJ1 was going to be too slick to race on with the wet weather tires. Second thing that I heard him say that I agree with Greg on is why isn't the racetrack taking rubber outside of that resin? The resin is on the bottom, but even when you're running in the second lane,
look how clean it is.
There's no rubber.
No
in that
rubber
second
at all.
lane from the tires. So regardless of what it is what it is for the teams, and there's a win on hand here today, and the strategy of how you race today is just different now.
Yeah, we saw this a few years ago where the track did not take any rubber because it was an extremely cold day and just not warm enough to activate, where the rubber would work its way into the racetrack.
See how those tires are graining like that? That's what's just cheese grating them things off.
That's right.
Now Joey Logano just came in for tires. Here's his team.
And so this extra set of tires that we were getting from Goodyear, those are like old tires, like last year, old date codes. So I burned them up. That was what I used right there. So from here on out, we'll be back on the good stuff. Okay, good to know.
Well, I'm glad we know that, because now we know that it's not going to be better.
Ready for the restart. It'll be 121 laps to go. Hamlin and Bell out front.
Still a little bit confusing on that. You know, you just heard them. Well, it wasn't any better. I heard you, Kevin, say that, but why were they worse? The same tire.
Well, I think that the set that they gave them had older date codes. They were built further back in time, so the rubber's not as good on the tire. The fresher tires are usually faster and better. So at least there's not something that the one set that NASCAR has given the teams is not going to be a major advantage or disadvantage for somebody as they put them on. It's the same as what we have. We just have another set of tires, right?
Ty Gibbs up into second, and the Joe Gibbs Toyotas run 1 through 4 once again, being chased by Keselowski, Blaney, and Haley in the 51. On the outside, Justin Haley trying to make it work. On the restart, Kyle Larson started at the back. Equipment interference on his pit stop, so he's out of contention. How about Haley?
And he's been up there all day, and this is one of those races where how you drive your car and way that your car is handling and everything that happens is just different than every other week with the style of race that this is. And he's been right in the middle of it all day.
And he's been good at those scenarios. Adversity. When adversity strikes, these teams are for a loop. Justin Haley, think of the first time we went to the Clash over there. He shows up and was fast right off the bat. That kid can get it done in some pretty adverse situations.
Jamie?
Yeah, you guys are exactly right. Justin Haley started 32nd up to 6th. He told his team, don't worry about these adjustments. The car is good. Just give me a good pit stop. Remember Rick Ware Racing, their best finish here? 17th. What a day for them. Kaz Gralla back there doing a great job too.
Yeah, Haley in 7th, Gralla in 17th. They're having a good day.
Well, these types of days are interesting because a lot of times a team like Rick Ware Racing might not be as aggressive on cambers. They might not be as aggressive on their ride heights, and sometimes that plays into your hands because it's easier on the tires, where all the other teams are like nitpicking every single thing to get everything that they can out of the tire. And based upon what we saw in the fall, these cars are set up to come here and maximize the grip and wear on all 4 tires on the car to the max of what they know.
Well, the pace has picked up on this restart. The last green flag run was about a second off the fastest laps of the day. Right now, we're only about 3/4 of a second off those fastest laps. So Denny Hamlin trying to get this over in a hurry.
Well, and it's those same cars at the front. Gibbs cars are the best cars. They can push the pace, and they're forcing these other guys to either keep up or get further behind.
So Larry, are we going to get into that danger zone again on this set of tires?
Well, Mike, here's where it's fickle. We now only have to make 40 laps a run to get to lap 500. But the only way we find out how much further we can go is when somebody loses a tire. So that's the box we're in right now.
Well, the box that we're in is there. Somebody's going to lose a tire.
Right.
You just don't know. You don't know who it is. And all the good cars have migrated to the front, and it's just it's that game of chicken that we've been talking about all day.
Look out! Whoa.
Boy, Ryan Blaney got muscled around there.
He got moved, is what he got.
Yep. He got Chastain.
Yep, Chastain moved him right up out of the way. He did a whale of a job holding that car underneath of him. Tank swapped all the way down the front straightaway. He won't be happy about that, Ryan Blaney.
Chris Buescher's view of this.
Quite a bit of contact.
There's a lot of contact happening right there with several cars.
Here comes another one.
Blaney trying to get down in the bottom lane there, and Austin Dillon says, no, 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 I'm here.
And this is battling for 20th place.
Well, I think that was a little of the case. I'm not going to dump that all on Chastain. I think Blaney was trying to hold him down and not allow him into that hole as well, that he kind of created and opened that door. Chastain went ahead and stepped his way on through it. How about this for the lead?
Yep, Ty Gibbs back to the front to lead for the 9th time today. Hamlin has led 10 times.
Going to take his teammate Christopher Bell right with him. Look at this 4-horse race. Gibbs just pulverizing the field right now.
Joe Gibbs Racing may be on their way to their first ever 1, 2, 3, 4 finish.
If I didn't know any better, I thought we were at Daytona and they're just helping each other save fuel.
Well, Denny took off as fast as we've seen him take off right there, and Ty sat behind him there and decided that it was time to go a little bit faster than what he was going as far as the pace.
I want to get in the lead. I like Ty Gibbs in that plan. I want to get in the lead, and then I want to be able to slow them down and manage that race accordingly from the lead, not from 4th.
Now Kyle Larson is mired back in 22nd, and we'll show you why. It was on this last pit stop.
Yeah, watch this tire get away. There it is, a bad roll right there, and impedes the guys in front of him. That's a foul, penalty every time.
So he restarted at the back in 28th. He's gained back 7 positions since.
And that's how this goes. You know, he's sitting there riding 5th or 6th and in a perfect position to take care of his car and his tires and everything that was happening. And now he's had to pit, penalty, and now he has to go back through the field and use his car up more than he has probably all day.
The other thing about that is you work on your balance around clean air and running up front. And then all of a sudden you get mired back there in traffic and you're getting pinched down, trying to make a pass on the bottom. You're tight. You can't get underneath them. You can't get on the throttle. You need the real estate up off. Everything changes back there mired in traffic.
7th place. Nemechek moving forward once again.
Well, he's another one of those Toyota guys, and he's been up and towards the front of the race all day.
Yeah, this is a big day for John Hunter.
John Hunter, Brad Keselowski, those guys have hung out around the front 6 or 7 positions all day long. The first 4, have typically been the Gibbs cars, but we see Justin Haley sitting there in 6th and John Hunter right behind him in 7th.
McDowell, Wallace, and Berry complete the top 10. 6 Toyotas in the top 10 with 4 Fords. Regan, how about our leader?
Well, Mike, Ty Gibbs continuing to manage the field out front right now. Think back to yesterday also. Chris Gale told me yesterday when they had trouble in practice, he wanted to put another set of tires on the race car to make sure everything was good. He opted not to. He took a chance there. Look at how much that's paying off right now. Had they taken that chance, one less set for today if they'd have done that.
Gibbs has led the most laps today, 122 now. Hamlin 94, Truex 52. Great start to the season for last year's Rookie of the Year. 3rd at Phoenix, highest average finish of all drivers, and 3 straight top 10s.
Yeah, we saw this coming last year. Really the second half of the year, really all year last year, he finished races, but would make mistakes here and there and cost himself good finishes. But he's just a grinder, and he's in fast cars, got great teammates, got a great organization around him, and he's just he works really hard and puts himself in position to have a chance to win, and I think he's going to continue to do that.
He's going to put Ricky Stenhouse another lap down with 87 laps to go in Bristol. .78 laps to go. The pace has dropped off another 0.2 of a second, and we're starting to see a lot of cars up and out of the groove and off pace.
Yes, we are. See the 4-car Josh Berry folks been running in solid the whole time and look over and see Gilliland starting to slip up.
Bell, we see Bell at the back of that frame right there go up the racetrack and start to fall back.
12 car, Logano.
Gilliland. And here come the leaders.
I think that's that danger zone we talk about.
That's Hamlin for the lead. Gilliland gets bumped up high. Everybody jumbles together, and Truex almost stole the lead.
Just about wiped out all three of the Gibbs bunch right there. Gilliland, again, as the tires, he's down to the cords and in trouble. That's exactly how the last caution happened. Same car.
Same appears to be true for Josh Berry, for Hemrick.
And Logano. You see the leader go right around Logano here. And Blaney's in trouble right in front of them.
Cindric, slow at the top of the racetrack at start-finish. A lot of drivers in difficulty right here.
It's coming, boys.
Yeah, and this is just that part of the run that we've been talking about all day, where the car just shuts off with whatever end that you're struggling with, and you can't go any faster.
Well,
so
it shuts off because there's no rubber on them tires anymore.
Yeah.
You're down to the cord.
And the bad cars are still the bad cars.
Josh Berry has made it to pit road, the first to pit under green.
That 20 car, Christopher Bell, he's one of those Gibbs cars that's starting to slip and slide around. He's in trouble.
Ryan Blaney up out of the groove. He's in trouble. Brad Keselowski right on the back bumper of the 20 car right here.
There's Berry. That was the first one that I saw. He said, forget it, we need to pit.
Regan?
Mike, first time all day I've heard this on the 54 radio. Ty Gibbs just told the team right rear starting to be a problem right now. Keep an eye on him.
Gibbs in the wall. These guys are really starting to slip and slide around. They're all over the place, folks.
Yep, we see the 54 car get passed by Brad Keselowski right there.
Everybody trying to nurse it along to the next caution and not be that caution.
Don't be that caution. More importantly, they're all over the place in trouble.
This is the longest green flag run today.
And this is where the race is going to be won or lost. And
there's the 5 car, Kyle Larson, going a lap down. He's in trouble.
Yeah, you just don't want to be the guy that has to come to pit road. One lap's okay, but if you come to pit road, it's going to be multiple laps if the caution comes out.
Only 2 Gibbs cars left in this thing. It's 2 veterans. They're still manage those tires and still obviously have the rubber left to do it. Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin leading his field.
Chase Briscoe, his car's shut off. Contact with the 8 and as the 19 goes by.
And still, Josh Berry is the only one that has stopped under green. He has fresh tires. He's flying by cars, but he has lost 2 laps with the green flag stop.
Yeah, and right now they're telling Josh Berry, do everything you can do to get to the 11 car to get yourself back on 1 lap down before the caution
trouble
comes
turn
out.
4. Blaney almost turned it around and then almost got run over by an onrushing Tyler Reddick.
He's been nursing that thing around there for 10 laps. I think he's got a tire down. He's way off the pace.
Yeah, and that's the
pit road.
That's the downfall of trying to ride it out.
Kyle Larson is in.
Look how far Gilliland's off the pace.
And Blaney will pit this time.
The right front tire is completely flat on Ryan Blaney's car.
Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex still rolling through the field, putting on a show. Somehow, some way, they've kept the balance on these race cars. They've managed that tire, got to the end of these runs. That's 2 old KG veterans. Priest way off the pace as they lap him.
Yeah, and I think as you ride around here, you're just losing so much time.
Oh, Berry almost into the wall in turn 2. He just rushed turn 1 so hard he diamonded the track and almost ran out of real estate.
Yeah, and on that pit stop, we saw both right side tires of Ryan Blaney's car all the way down to the cords.
Heck of a race for the lead between these 2 teammates, Truex and Hamlin, slicing through the field. How long will those tires last?
Well, it just goes to show you how much better their cars are handling than everybody else's and how much easier they are on the tires.
Kyle Larson on fresh tires, rushing through the field. And they're going to lap Christopher Bell.
Bell's got a flat. I saw the sparks come out of the back of the car.
Yes, right rear flat on Bell. Let's see what happens getting in the 1. It might come around on him. He's got it slowed down.
And he'll make pit road.
Right rear's down. You see that left front up off the ground? That means the right rear's down. That's how stiff and rigid these cars are. There it is. You see it flat.
Now Larson is flying around the racetrack. Like Barry, he's also 2 laps down. And 2 laps down, there's no way that's going to get you the free pass. So Blaney, same thing.
Blaney's going by cars so fast, he's coming right up behind the leader right now. He's going by him so fast, he doesn't know which direction to go with his new tires.
He has to get around these leaders. It's a must. Do not let this caution come out before I get them past. Sorry, Truex, I need to go.
Well,
I think they're both in trouble here.
He doesn't want to cause a caution, and right now the way that this thing's going, it seems like everybody's going to have to pit.
But Blaney is 4 laps down, so he gets one of those back, but that won't be enough. Here's some Brad Keselowski radio.
Everybody who pushed hard 10 laps ago is fading. I need you in that rhythm real slow. Might have to roll it. Just be patient, man. Cannot have a caution here now. Time, don't do anything crazy. Just be smart.
That's the biggest thing. Do not have a caution. These guys are pitting left and right. If somehow, some way you can keep that thing out there and keep managing these things, keep the wheels rolling.
Yeah, and the guys that are having to pit have basically just worn the things down to be out of air.
Ty Gibbs way off the pace, off of 2. He's going to come down pit.
He slid way up toward the wall at turn 2. He's got a flat left rear.
Got a fire under the hood.
Yeah, it's the brakes on fire. Ty Gibbs got a right rear flat.
Buscher is in, Preece is in.
And just to clarify, under caution, you'll only have to use your pit road straightaway. You don't have to go around the corners, so you just use your designated straightaway pit stall.
Daniel Hemrick is in. Corey LaJoie has made his stop. And there's only 6 cars on the lead lap. Hamlin back through Nemechek. Everybody else is at least a lap down due to making these green flag stops. Nemechek is in.
Yeah, now just 5.
Logano.
Chase Elliott back in the top 5. Teammate Bowman managing these tires. Chase Elliott hits pit road. They're going to be told now, just go. Got a car way off the pace, off of 2. He's all but stopped. I think that's Hocevar. No caution. These guys are begging for no caution. The leader, Denny Hamlin, on pit road.
Hamlin up at the turn 4 end of the front stretch pit. Going to get 4 tires under green. Austin Dillon is in. Logano is done with his stop.
Yeah, and you see everything inside of those wheels, probably rubber on fire, or the brakes are so hot that
it's all that rubber buildup.
It's all
on the brakes. That's exactly what
on fire.
Truex is in. Allmendinger. And Hocevar hit the wall in turn 3.
Completely out of control. I think he's got a flat tire. Hocevar off of 4.
Keselowski pits.
All right, this is where it's a must. No caution.
Whoa.
You see, that's that rubber. I think that's all that rubber built up on these hot brakes when they came in, caught on fire. Massive amounts of rubber. You see these things clear down to the cords. It came from somewhere.
Alex Bowman, runner-up in the Daytona 500 by thousandths of a second, finds himself in the lead at Bristol with 50 to go.
Yeah, and right now he's giving up 2 seconds a lap.
Bubba Wallace slow entering pit road now. Gregson is in. Eric Jones is in.
Here he comes. Bowman coming onto pit road. I was going to say he's about out of opportunities of people causing a caution here. About everybody's pitted.
Kaz Grala, Kyle Busch complete their stops. Oops.
Ooh.
And the pit woes continue for Kyle Busch.
Yep. Didn't have that lug nut on. Got him stopped.
Well, that is something that I didn't think we would see today. It's a complete green flag cycle. And basically what they did is they ran their cars until the tires went flat.
That's exactly what they did. So very lucky that we didn't have a caution. It was people all over the place, way off the pace, flat tires left and right.
But now, Larry, 47 laps to go. Is this going to put us right back in that danger zone again?
Well, I think about the ones that pitted very early because of tire issues, Mike, like Josh Berry, like Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson. I don't see them being able to remotely make it all the way to lap 500 should we not have another caution.
I think you're spot on. Now, flip side of that, Hamlin and Truex, they are in the catbird seat right now. We're going to manage this thing a little bit. As soon as we get any pressure on us, we're going to have the affordability because we pitted later than everybody to go when it's time.
But they still have to go 51 and 52 laps.
They just proved that they can do it, though.
Yeah.
Went over 60.
So after green flag stops, we have 12 cars on the lead lap. Make that 11 now. Chase Elliott is the last car on the lead lap in 11th place, with Chase Briscoe and everybody else a lap down.
Inside.
I think Larry's spot on. Barry's the one that's got me nervous. As early as he had to pit, you got to remember he was pretty much the first one way off the pace, put those tires on, meaning he couldn't go the distance last time.
And he ran hard when he came out of the pits.
Well, he had to, because he wanted to try to pass the leaders as many times as they could to try to keep themselves from being multiple laps down. Yeah, I would say that Josh Berry's going to have to pit again because his car is going to shut off when those tires finally run out of rubber on the right side.
3 of the oldest drivers are the most experienced. 3 of the top 4 right there, Hamlin, Truex, and Keselowski. I have to think that plays a little bit of a role in this. That takes you back to the old days. That's how we all started racing in this. When you had massive horsepower and could blow the tires off these things, thinking about a track, even like here, it would go away. You had to manage those tires. Martinsville, all these short tracks, Richmond, that's what you had to be good at, tire management.
So after the stop, among the 4 Toyotas that were leading the race, Hamlin and Truex remain 1-2. Christopher Bell back in 7th, and Ty Gibbs, who led 137 laps today, back in 14th. Briscoe in the free pass position ahead of Preece and Gibbs.
I love the spot that Denny Hamlin and Truex are in, though. They just have to just ride around here. You're light years ahead of everybody. Manage this gap. Manage your car. Do not push it whatsoever into the corner, on the throttle up off. Just roll the car around there, make laps.
Yeah, and based on their pace, Clint, I mean, it's still as fast as they ran the last run, lap time wise.
It's kind of stayed consistent, though. I remember early on you were saying 60s, 1660s, 70s, 80s is pretty much where they were running. Look over your shoulder. Here we are at a 69, 85, and a 75, top 3 guys.
So 4 cars pretty much checking out on the field. Hamlin and Truex with a 6-second gap back to the Fords of Keselowski and Berry, who have a 4-second gap back to the Chevrolet of Kyle Larson, the Ford of Chris Buescher, and the Toyotas of Nemechek and Bell, the Ford of Haley, and the Chevy of Bowman. And that's all that's on the lead lap as we look at 34 to go.
Hamlin's starting to get into some massive lap traffic here. That's going to hold them guys up. They're definitely getting desperate in front of him. Look at this melee in front. And they're racing almost 3 wide in front of him. That is not what you want to see as a leader. Look at Truex catch him.
Yeah, and that's typical Bristol. Once you catch that lap traffic, and like we saw earlier, just that panic sets in and you start making bolder moves.
That was a 1.5 last lap. Now it's down to almost 1/10 of a second. Right on his bumper. Not what Denny Hamlin wanted to see.
Chase Elliott 1 down, and behind him Corey LaJoie 2 laps down. But these other cars are going to fight to stay on the lead lap if they can. Martin Truex, only 2 top 5s here in 33 starts, and none in the last decade. Best finish here was 2nd back in 2011.
This is one of the wildest races I've ever sat and been a part of. This is
Wait a minute, you just said that a couple weeks ago in Atlanta.
Yeah, well, that was just wild for racing. This one's wild for racing, strategy, new things to navigate here. So I'm learning a lot sitting up here.
You digging your new role?
I'm digging it, man.
52 lead changes so far. That is a record for NASCAR on short tracks. Previous record was 40. Rusty Wallace here at Bristol, and that was 30 years ago.
This puts me back in the old Bristol. Here you got 2 guys battling out for the win at Bristol and massive amounts of lap traffic in front of them. Who can navigate around here, save these tires, manage these tires? That's who's going to win this race, and it's probably going to be between these two teammates.
And that's the key word, Clint. Who's managing their tires as they're going through this traffic?
A lot of lap traffic in front of them. Half a track of nothing but lap traffic, solid.
Last fall, that's where Denny Hamlin came out with the "I just beat your favorite driver" speech, which he has now retired. His dad advised him that was not a good idea.
Thank you, Dad.
Yep. And he won here at Bristol last fall. And this is the first time in 4 years the spring race has been held on the concrete surface.
Just goes to show you're never too old to listen to the old man. Boy, I don't like that. It's too arrogant. Fix it.
Can I tape that and play it back for you next week? Just every once in a while.
There's always
if he wins, he might get on it again.
There's always something to learn.
Truex is right there. One slip up, and it's going to happen in front of him. It won't be a slip up on Denny. It'll be a slip up of these guys desperate, trying to stay on the, you know, from going another lap down. Those guys get together right in front of Denny, lands in his lap, and Truex will be there to take it. Well, and I think that's the key too. If you're Truex, stay back a little bit. Let that stuff happen. If it happens right in Denny's lap, be there to be able to make an adjustment and make the pounce.
Well, that's exactly how he lost the lead gap last time, and now it's dwindled back down as these guys race side by side, trying to keep Denny from passing him to put him on another lap down.
Yeah, now Dillon is 2 laps down. Hemrick is 3 laps down. And Truex looks like he's getting a little impatient here.
Well, and the bad news for Denny Hamlin is, as you look in front of him, it's just more cars everywhere. It's not going to clear up. There's no gaps. It's just 14, 15 cars.
It's the world's fastest conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And there's a good look at it.
Well, there it is. Yeah, look, him back here. You can see him right there. But look at all the traffic in front of him.
$20 laps to go. The Toyotas have pretty well dominated the day. The 4 Joe Gibbs drivers between them have led nearly 400 laps.
Well, the best part about this, Mike, is this is going to come at the end of one of these tire runs, and these cars are going to be all over the place.
Now, how about Josh Berry in 4th place, 2nd of the Fords? He was the first driver to pit in that green flag sequence, and he's come out of this quite well. We listened in to the 4.
It's the craziest race I've ever been a part of. Yeah, me too. Doing great. Doing a really good job here.
Got to pass for the lead. That's exactly what happened. They got together in front of Denny, slipped up. He had to make an adjustment. Boom. Truex takes the lead.
Well,
the race is on. 17 to go, baby.
That's exactly what you just said, Clint. It's all going to come down to the lap traffic. And now Martin's on the bottom, and Denny chooses a top. And that's sometimes what it comes down to, is just who guesses right.
Gets in the corner, slips up. This isn't over yet. Massive amounts of traffic for these leaders. They're too wide right in front of them. Denny Hamlin back to the outside.
And it's going to come at the most ill-handling part of the run, and it's going to be worse for the guys in front of them than it is for them.
Look at the cars in front of them. Chastain, Bubba Wallace on the outside.
Chastain trying to stay on the lead lap.
Denny moved his car. Bubba, get out of my way. Sorry, I own that thing.
Well, Wallace is 3 laps down.
Well,
on the other hand, there's nowhere to hide.
It's his car. He can do whatever he wants with it. Did a good job there.
54
Set that pick
lead
with
changes.
Chastain on Truex.
And we probably have not yet seen the last one. Heavy traffic, Bell ahead. And Dillon has been fighting really hard, trying to keep himself in front of the race leader. Nemechek right up there. Gregson. Where will Hamlin go? And how is he going to carve his way through this pack?
Well, it's going to happen quick if it stays green. We're talking about 3 minutes is all it's going to take. So now one little mistake right there, one bobble, and here comes Martin Truex right back on his bumper.
Truex looking low. Hamlin thought about the outside on Dillon, thought better of it.
It's timing. You have to time these passes. If you're Denny Hamlin, do not catch them in a bad scenario getting into the corner where you have to lift, check, and give Truex a chance to pounce.
All right, Nemechek just ahead. He's the last car on the lead lap now. in 8th place.
That's an amazing stat. 54 lead changes.
Incredible.
It wasn't too long ago we were talking about John Hunter Nemechek being right in the mix in 6th or 7th, and now he's going a lap down. He's still in 8th place, but shows you the difference in how good these first few cars are.
9 to go. Truex has got to get by Nemechek in a hurry to keep pace with Hamlin.
Denny's able to get to their outside and make passes on these lappers on the outside a little bit better than Truex. It's when they're too wide in front of Denny, it gives Truex a chance to run him down.
All right, now the leaders are together again. Nothing separating them as they work the outside of Josh Berry.
Yeah,
well, there's Josh Berry. Go ahead, Kevin.
It has shut off.
Yeah,
it has shut off, Clint.
That thing's corded. He was inside the top 5 there, in big trouble.
Well, he pitted earlier, so we knew that his car was probably going to be one of the first ones to shut off.
Did not make it.
Gilliland, same thing, backing up in the field. Now, Kyle Larson earlier on his pit stop may be in the same situation, 6 to go.
And that's what Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex, whose car is going to shut off first, because we saw the 20 car of Christopher Bell and the 54 car of Ty Gibbs the last run, all of a sudden done.
6 to go, 5 to go here. If I'm Denny Hamlin, hey, it's in God's hands now. I'm going for it. They're both going for it. If it wears out, so be it. But anybody, because I didn't try.
Ryan Blaney goes 2 laps down to the leaders after having a promising first half to the race.
Not a lot of lap traffic in front of them now.
And Truex closes to within 2 car lengths.
3 to go.
See him go around Justin Haley, who's had such a great day today, and his car has turned off.
Yeah. Man, I thought he was going to end up in the top 10.
Well, that did not
run for them.
That did not help Truex. He falls to 5 car lengths back. He had a little more trouble getting around Haley than Hamlin did.
Yeah, 2 to go. Just caught Haley again. That timing thing that I was talking about, caught him in a bad place getting into turn 3. Gave Hamlin a little bit extra lead. Exactly what he looked. Coming around here to 1 to go. This is just what the doctor ordered. It's exactly what Denny Hamlin wanted to see.
White flag, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
Nursing around here.
Works around the outside of Chase Briscoe. And by about 12 car lengths, Denny Hamlin is going to win Bristol.
2 in a row here.
My man.
A winner here last fall. And he wins on the return to spring concrete. A track that's been dirt for the last 3 years.
Thank you. My favorite racetrack. We got another one. Thank you.
It's going to take a couple days to go back and dissect all of this.
My goodness, that was wild.
52nd career win for Denny Hamlin, 13th on the all-time NASCAR win list. Bristol in September was his last victory.
Teammates 1-2.
Joe Gibbs Racing 1-2. RFK Racing, Brad Keselowski 3rd. Hendrick Motorsports 4th and 5th with Bowman and Larson. 210th win for Joe Gibbs as a car owner, and 2nd of the season.
Well, Denny Hamlin was up front all day. They did a great job of maintaining their pace, figuring out what their car needed, and just made it happen to the end.
How about Larson getting back up to the top 5 after that pit road mishap? That was big. He ended up having to pit early. And John Hunter Nemechek, 6th. That's a whale of a job. Chris Buescher coming back for a top 10 from way back deep in the field.
When was the last time we had a race finish with just 5 cars on the lead lap?
I don't know, but I love the strategy of all the things that happened, and with the drivers and the teams having to manage the way that their cars were handling, how fast you went. There was way more to it than just hammer down, go as fast as you can go, and you know, hope for the best.
Age, wisdom, and experience. That's what prevailed today. Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski.
And a really fast race car. Those Gibbs cars were fast today.
Well, the other 2 ended up 9th and 10th. They're still learning a little bit.
Fair point.
54 lead changes, an all-time NASCAR record on a short track. Denny Hamlin, Chris Gabehart, and their crew. Well, they're shooting off fireworks, but I think we've had 500 laps of them.
Well, I guess there was a little rubber left on there, Clint.
Still burning down on that 11 camp. He had more to give. This is every driver's favorite racetrack. This is the one everybody wants to win at more than anything. Such a neat experience, such a cool racetrack. That tire's down. It's flat. It's had enough.
Like Kyle Busch before him, Denny Hamlin is a very polarizing driver. You either cheer for him to win or you cheer for anybody but. And you can hear the crowd's reaction. It is decidedly mixed.
It's only been that way since the podcast. Kevin, be careful with that podcast journey you're on.
Dover 2004 was the last race where we had 5 or less cars finish on the lead lap.
Let's see if he says it.
Nope.
Love it. Got the job done. #1, baby.
Regan Smith.
Well, in one of the wildest Bristol races we have ever seen, Denny, you find a way to get the job done, get your second in a row here at Bristol. How did you manage those tires all day long and still have enough left at the end to hold off your teammate?
Yeah, it's just that's what I grew up doing here in the short tracks of the whole Mid-Atlantic. So South Boston, Martinsville, all those tracks, this is what I grew up doing. So once it became a tire management race, I really liked our chances, but obviously the veteran in Martin, he knew how to do it as well. And so we just had a great car, great team. The pit crew just did a phenomenal job all day. Can't say enough about them. First time with Oil Change Express on the car. Appreciate all the Mavis folks as well. So Sport Clips, FedEx, Jordan Brand, Coca-Cola, that whole group. Just, man, it feels so good to win in Bristol.
Denny Hamlin wins a wild one in Bristol.
And Martin Truex Jr. comes up 1 spot short. What was it like for you managing your tires, managing your equipment for 500 laps?
Well, apparently that's what I needed to have happen here at Bristol to be able to have a shot at winning. So yeah, I don't know. Just really proud of my team, everybody on our Auto Owners Camry and everybody at Bass Pro TRD, all of our partners. James and the guys did a great job this weekend, Jazzy, and having a plan coming here. And yeah, I guess this tire management thing fit into my wheelhouse here at Bristol, but man, the difference was just coming out of the pit so far behind Denny. You know, I had to use mine up more than him on the last run, and then the last 5 laps of the race, my right rear was cored. So gave it a hell of an effort. Congrats to them, but man, what a job by everybody at TRD, JGR, and you know, our Toyotas are really working well right now, and had a lot of fun today. Wish we could have come up 1 spot short. Second always hurts a little, but it's a really good run for us here, and it's been a great season so far for us.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep, thanks.
Joe Gibbs Racing with a dominating performance in Bristol, running 1 through 4 for a good part of the race. Denny Hamlin holding off teammate Martin Truex by 1 second for the win. Brad Keselowski's Ford 3rd. The Chevys of Bowman and Larson 4th and 5th. Hamlin handles the Bristol concrete.